Yo,
I swear.
calm down, fam.
Uh,
Bro,
no,
I
but
wish you would have. I wish you would have clowned on him more. It's like take a bunch of. You should have asked him. Show me what Arabic word says rub. Rub sticks. Who are
nah,
you
nah,
rubbing?
Wild.
Oh, you, the people around you.
That
This
uh,
is
is
crazy.
massage hour.
no, but I think you were really cordial. You were respectful. You were calm. You were collected. You mentioned all the points. You addressed them. It was really good. Praise God. And we knew what he was gonna say. Right? We were ready for this. Not like oh he came with
Give
brand
me
new information
give
we
me a
didn't know
couple minutes. Let me
nothing.
do my prayer and come back, and then our
Go go
conversation.
go go
Give me a
go go
second.
go.
Don't let anybody leave. Keep everyone on their toes. We got to do a
Yeah.
nice post-debate analysis.
Locking the
Bye
doors,
bye.
God. I'm locking the doors. No one's
Well,
gonna
shit.
leave.
I
Yo,
thought
but
it was
honestly, first of all, I just want to point out a couple things. All right, a lot of people from the hypocrite server, the peaceful religious server, came on, were mocking the submitters on there, and like, listen, this is a situation where you have somebody, a Quranist, who's saying Rashad's a fake messenger. He's delusional. He went against God. He attributed lies to God and is publicly promoting it, right? And on the other side, you have somebody who's trying to defend and say, no, this guy was a messenger of God. He was not crazy. He was not delusional. And then you have people who claim to be submitters, right? Come on there and attacking the side of the submitters, the side that is trying to defend the truth. Anybody
Who
who
did
does that is not a submitter.
Was
This is
People
my
from
what
the
the Quran says
people from
that
the
the
peaceful religious,
hypocrites
yeah,
ally
yeah.
with the enemies, right?
That's what it
bro?
is. That's what it is. You
Now
have
you can
Medjid, you
realize.
had, pardon me?
No, I'm saying now you realize why hypocrites are worse than disbelievers. Look,
Yeah,
these
yeah,
people are worse.
exactly. So a lot of people give slack. Oh, why do you hang out with people? Like, why do you guys care about if people go and hang out with people on the peaceful religious? Because these are horrible people. They're horrible influences. They're not believers. A believer would never do that. Listen, Sajjad could have like robbed my house. Whatever the heck it is. You could have had. We could have a lot of beef, me and this guy. But if he's standing up for the truth against somebody who's attacking submission, I'm not gonna go and attack you. This is a good opportunity to try and embarrass and attack him. No,
So
I'm gonna
low.
help and
That
support him in the
is so
truth.
low. That is so
So low
low.
and so bad, so low and so bad.
Yeah.
So anyway, praise God for that.
Yeah,
God,
pretty good.
it takes a lot of guts to go up there and do what Navid is doing. Listen, like at the end of the day, I don't. There's a lot. Listen, I can sit here and I can pull all these submitters aside and say these are the things that I think you need to work on, Navid included. But at the end of the day, the brother's coming out. He's going on video, keeping good, calm demeanor. He's getting mocked and ridiculed, not getting frustrated, not getting angry. You know what I mean? Hats off to that, man. Hats off to that. That's
Yeah,
why
it's pretty much
I'm always going to
three
strive for it.
hours. Yeah, he did 3 hours of debate. And not
That's
any type of
crazy.
debates. These type of debates for people who haven't experienced them, when you're on camera in front of like hundreds of people, is much more intense. Is way harder and like it takes way more energy. But God obviously was supporting him. But this takes a tremendous amount of effort, courage, preparation, and God bless Brother Navid for doing that. Make sure you tell him because he needs the
Hey, I'm
Members.
support.
back.
We have
I'm
to
back.
support
What's
him.
up?
We support the believers.
What's up, bro? Peace be
Yeah,
upon you.
I'm saying you did 3 hours of recorded debate in front of hundreds of people against a. I wouldn't say he was a fierce debater, but it wasn't a catwalk either. But you did really good, and it takes a lot of effort and energy. And it's not like even 3 hours on VC1 on its own is difficult if you debate with someone. Let alone getting ready, preparing for something, doing a recorded debate in front of an audience. That's much more difficult. And I'm saying, we really appreciate that. God bless you. God clearly supported you in this. We saw God sending up correctness up there to humiliate Muhammad from Satan. So it was really good. God bless you for all your effort, man. We really appreciate it.
God bless you, Navid.
All right, listen. Maybe we have. Is anybody here right now that joined from
I
that
just
live
want,
debate?
I
I
just
seen a
want,
We
bunch
got
of.
I just want to give a
AC.
chance. God bless you. I just
I
want to
am.
give a chance to new people to interact with the debate. There's a post debate analysis. Let's give priority to new people to just talk, see what they have to say about this. Go ahead.
I have a question actually. So like I I am a chronist. Um and the thing is like it didn't really do much for me. Like I still can't really get over the whole like 40-year thing. and the
Yeah,
devil
okay, so there's
fake
yes, so
nothing.
you're gonna reject the messenger, right? Based on a concept that you don't like from him. But that's not the condition in the Quran. That's never the case that the messenger comes to you with something you don't like and you're supposed to reject him. This is not a thing. They always come with things we don't like. If the messenger came with everything you liked, then there wouldn't be any test. The test is for you to accept something that doesn't sit right with you. Do you understand?
That is fair. I'll look further into it.
Yeah, God bless you. Look at it. What is it? Appendix 32 that talked about the age of 40. Just study that. We actually have a new article on the age of 40. There's really good evidences on this. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If it doesn't sit right with us, it doesn't matter. That's a test. That's the biggest test. The biggest test is accepting the messenger saying things that we just don't understand or don't acknowledge.
Yo, can I just add to that really quickly, God willing? I mean, for example, a lot of people they're gonna come to like they just read the Quran and they read homosexuality is condemned, right? And imagine you grew up in America or Canada where hey, gay rights, this, that, the other, social justice warriors, all this kind of stuff, and you say, well, why would God tell them they're gonna go to hell? Why? Everything in the Quran is subject to not sitting right with somebody. But the fact is if it's from God, if this is what God is saying, you have to accept it. Doesn't matter your feelings. So Nagi's absolutely right.
Just to like make a simple point, right? As a Quranist, you should favor the verses of the Quran above everything else. There's only one verse that talks about this specific age, right? It's 46:15. And this verse talks about how when you reach this age, you should make a dua, a supplication. So the alternative is, what is the age of responsibility? Do I hold someone who's 12 years old who died accountable? Do I hold someone who's 18 and can drink or smoke or whatever accountable? And so God creates the system such that you are given a lifelong chance. When you reach a certain point where your decision is made, right, your chances of reverting to Tawheed is diminished. This is the only age mentioned. What's the alternative? Like his response, this is Muhammad, saying it's when you become a leader. Based on what? What verse in the Quran is saying that's when you qualify as a leader? It makes no sense. The higher you are in age, the more likely you are to accrue leadership position or affluence over people. Not at 40.
Also, Muhammad himself is 35 years old. He considers himself a leader. So, like, isn't that contradicting the verse? Like, he's a leader right now, and he's not 40.
Oh, that's funny.
He's a hypocrite. He says what he does not do.
Yeah, what's funny is
Have you read this?
the Quran is very clear, right? This concept of like premature death is just not a thing. In 3154, it says when those people who lost individuals in battle, they said if it was up to us, none of us would have died. And God rebukes them by saying if they didn't go to battle, they would have been crawling into their deathbeds. No one's life is snapped short or extended. At the moment when God dictates they're going to come in this world, they're going to come in this world. The moment God dictates they're going to exit this world, they're going to exit this world. And then in addition to the age of 40, God tells us that those in hell had a lifelong chance. The specific word is Amma. And if you do an analysis of the Quran, it points at this age is 40. That's what the cutoff is for a lifelong chance. Someone who didn't live 40 years on this planet is not going to have enough life experience to lock in their final vote. So whatever sins they commit, they're going to pay for it in this life, either through repentance, righteous deeds, or hardship.
I wanted
I
to
was
ask a
really
question for
surprised.
Navid to clarify. And he made a statement. I don't know if it was just a haphazard statement or something like that. But you said that the mosque in Medina is impermissible to pray in because of shirk. And I wanted to understand why you said that.
I can chime in on this if give Navid a break.
Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah. So the Masjid Nabi,
Al
right, in
Nabawi.
Medina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This one, if you go in, there's one, it contains the Prophet's tomb. Okay, so in
Mhm.
this is during the Ibn Hisham, if I'm not mistaken, they expanded it to include the Prophet's tomb as part of the masjid.
Yes.
People go
Yes,
there,
that's
they're
correct.
praying to the Prophet, thinking that he's in a state of bazar, and he's alive and can hear them. Okay.
Yeah.
Then, in addition, if you look at all the walls, they don't have the names of God; they have the names of Muhammad. Right. The entire premise is not for the glorification of God; it's for the glorification of Muhammad, and then God is kind of a side
No,
thing.
that's but masjids are defined by its dedication in its construction.
Yeah. So when they
So
constructed it,
so
right?
Prophet Muhammad built it and it's consecrated to God alone.
He didn't
So
though. That's the whole point. So when they constructed it, right? So this is actually interesting. During the battle between the Umayyads and the Zubairs, twice they rape and pillage Mecca. Medina. They destroyed the Kaaba twice, but they rape and pillage Medina. Okay. In restitution of that, after they killed Ibn Zubair, what they did is they basically created this giant masjid to encompass the Prophet's tomb.
okay.
Right. So what's there right now is not the Prophet's masjid. That doesn't exist anymore.
So you're saying that basically the original masjid was destroyed. So whatever Prophet Muhammad consecrated
They just
is no
build a
longer there.
masjid on his grave. They just build
And
a new masjid on his grave. That's it.
so I mean, you could say the same thing about the Kaaba, though. Like the Kaaba has been destroyed and rebuilt multiple times, and it
That's
obviously
different
has
because that's Masjid al
how,
Haram. Because it's Masjid al Haram. The Masjid al
but it's
Haram.
the same
Yeah,
thing. You're
listen,
saying that it
listen.
wasn't
No, it's not the
consecrated
same.
by
Let me.
Abraham then.
Yeah. Masjid al Haram is a sacred masjid. It cannot be polluted. And we have example of this at the time of the Prophet. Their idol worshippers in control of it, but the believers are still trying to go there. Okay, and God is supporting them for trying to engage in Hajj practices and go to the Kaaba. So the Masjid al Haram is only one. That's why I challenged them. I said, "Look, are you saying there's two Masjid al Harams? Masjid al Haram means it's a sacred house, a sacred masjid. It cannot be polluted. It's God's house. So God's
No,
house
but
is
Al Haram is the masjid, right? But Beit Allah is the Kaaba. So you can't enter the Kaaba, but you can enter the masjid. Is that what you're saying?
well, the Kaaba's inside the masjid, so it doesn't matter. Either way,
Mm.
it's fine. Look, this Masjid al Haram is a sacred masjid. God's house is there. It's uncorruptible. That's just it. It doesn't need a purification. It's already always pure. That's why we can go there right now. That's why they can go at the time of the Prophet Muhammad. You can't say this for whatever they're attributing to the Prophet in Medina. There's nothing to do with that. It's not built by Abraham. It's not built by Muhammad. It's a place of idol worship, and it has no justification or basis. It's not protected by God. Simple as that. It's done.
Oh well, thanks for
So,
clarifying.
no problem. Next issue. Is there anybody that wants to? Go ahead.
Can we answer some of these questions? Like, say, can you speak? We're not
Go
into
ahead,
the habit
say.
of typing in.
Go ahead.
Otherwise, I'm gonna have to verify you, bro. You're typing like mad, right? But you can't speak. It's easier to just speak, bro. We're all here to learn. Say, we're talking to you, bro.
Yeah, he's not unmuting. So let's talk to people that are willing to unmute. Just talk to people that are willing to unmute.
Do I put him in verification or leave him be?
Just
The
leave him
chat
for
is
now.
very
Just
fast
leave
right
him.
now. Just
Just
slow
leave
down.
him. Just leave him. Move to the next person.
We got
Costello, what
Pooch
did you
as
think about
well.
the
Are you
debate?
there?
Just move to the next person. Miss P, what did you think about the debate? Miss P, what did you think about the debate?
I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna watch it later.
Okay, he hasn't watched it. All right, let's go
You
to
did brilliant. You did brilliant.
really, you liked it?
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Oh, thank God, I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, I've even
Did
been
you
That's
see
arguing
wonderful.
for you.
the Quran?
Huh?
Did you see all the
What are you
different
asking, say?
Quranists that couldn't agree?
Yeah, he saw. Obviously, she saw it. That's why she liked my position. Very good. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Hey,
Skipper, did you like the debate?
this guy Kaut or whatever his name is. Do you want to talk, bro? Because it seems like you're posting a lot, but you have no questions for us here. Maybe you should talk in the voice since you're here. Make it easy on
What did
yourself.
anybody else think? Serafina, what did you think of the debate? Peace and welcome. And anyone else want to share their thoughts? I really appreciate the feedback, positive or negative.
Praise God. No, you did
What did you
good.
do? Good.
His only argument is it's all the same. Oh, you don't know Arabic. Sounds like a Sunni, right? And then he's giving wrong translations of words. It's just comical. It's just like he's giving something that's like factually just wrong. He's like darab means a rub. Where in the Quran does darab mean rub? You know, abed doesn't mean worship in 3660. I mean, these are just like nonsensical kind of arguments. So I'd say, yeah, no, mashallah, you did good. He reverted to exactly what we thought he was going to, where he just doesn't like Rashad's translation or understanding, but he's not offering an alternative. He has nothing. It's just like, hey, bro, I know Arabic. You have to trust what I say.
I don't think he even knows Arabic. Every word that was established, he just redefined. Right? He says salat only
It's
means
Quranist
salat
Arabic.
when there's yeah. He
Quranist
says
Arabic.
it only applies when there's iqama prefix to it. He's saying ibadah doesn't mean worship. When was that the case?
It's just
So
silly.
when Muhammad was told to not worship other gods beside God, so he was serving other gods beside God? Is that what he's suggesting?
Yeah, the funny thing is, it's like it's a multi-meaning word, but to discount the fact that it's like, hey, this can't mean worship is just silly. But then other ones, right? Darab, rub, like where in the entire Quran is that used? It's only used in 3 ways: strike, cite an example, or travel. That's it. That's the only 3 ways that the word is used in the Quran.
Wait,
rub
do
some
they?
sticks on
do they-
yourself. We gotta get that clip.
And yeah, we
do
can
they-
only serve the devil. We cannot worship the devil. Only serve him.
That's a good point.
Which
Yeah.
there's a verse that actually says that they were actually worshiping a rebellious devil by following other gods, right?
Yeah. I mean, dude, there's so many examples. Like, that's not even a disputed thing. Like, he comes up with these terms as if it's like, oh, this is so obvious. You don't know Arabic. It's like, bro, the entire Arab world disagrees with you. It's like, the audacity to make those claims.
He said something really weird, like towards the middle. I don't think anybody caught up on that, but he was basically like, "Oh, only the Jewish messengers were killed." Like
Yeah.
non-Jewish messengers can't be killed. Like, where do you get that from? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he comes up with these extrapolations and then he makes them as if it's like de facto, like, oh, this is just a no. It's like he's just making crap up. Like left and right, he's just making stuff up. Tarafanar, that, oh, this is the 2 ends of the day, but this is when Fajr and sunset. And then he says Zulfan and Layl just means the rubbing. He has a lot to do with rubbing, the massaging of the sun towards the horizon. Like, he's just making stuff up, right? Like, that's not a definition. I'm sorry. And then he has the audacity to say, oh, this guy, he doesn't know, you guys don't know Arabic.
Yeah, everybody likes to say that apparently.
It's not funny though.
That's good. Yes.
Complaints with it. Good.
Go ahead.
No, just
No,
that he
yeah, he just
complains
said,
about
he's
that, and
using
then
Sunni. Yeah, he complains about that. They just use the Sunni tactics. Like, everyone is supposed to submit to his translations, his definitions of words. Why? It's subjective. It's Quranist paradigm.
Bro,
It's just
God
it's just a
sent
random
us a
permutation.
Quranist who was like, I don't think you're right about the prayers. That was hilarious. Just exposed.
this is all his
Like, think about
conversations.
I
that.
don't
are
agree with
this.
him about the prayers. I don't agree with him.
Yeah,
But
but
isn't
this
it
is
But I know like he doesn't accept how did you put it the other day, Navid? Established tradition. He doesn't accept that. So it makes sense of
established
why
practices? Yeah, it doesn't
yeah,
accept
yeah,
established practices. But if it's all free
yeah.
flowing and free form, then what is it? What are the monastic? He's saying the monastic are free flowing. Then if they're free flowing, then why didn't God have to wait till Abraham to give them to us? Why didn't Adam have them? It doesn't make sense. It's ludicrous.
I think people are trying to like turn Islam or submission into like a Unitarian kind of religion. I think that's what's happening now. Like a universal Unitarian kind of
yeah.
religion.
But
Like
the
one
funny
size
thing is,
fits all, but
He's saying everything's open ended, everything stops. He just wants you to acknowledge his existence, and he said, "I'll leave you alone. To
but
use
he
your
doesn't.
religion, I'll mine.
That
That's it, done."
that this is the
Yeah.
thing. This is the lie that he has. He doesn't do that. Right? Literally, his sermon yesterday consisted of him basically just calling Rashad names and then calling each of the people he invited up to talk with him idiots and stupid. Like he says that in one breath, and then in the other breath he just like mocks and ridicules all these people.
He chose
Right? The
to
only
stick to the ground. That's the
Yeah.
verse, right?
The only reason he made those nice comments during this discussion was because he knew that he's at odds with his quote unquote congregation. Right? His congregation doesn't believe like he does. Most of them don't believe in ritual prayer.
It's such an awkward position to be in. They have nothing. We have a coherent doctrine. We have a believers. We have an ummah. We have a community. We have congregations. What does he have? Nothing. Like, honestly, Ibrahim Ali, I think that just put the nail in the coffin for you, brother. It's Quranism versus submission. Just embrace submission. Join the submitters, brother. Honestly, there's no alternative that's valid. There's nothing. It's just endless confusion and just nonsense. There's no coherence. There is no alternative to submission. That's the bottom line. It's really the bottom line. If anyone could present me with an alternative to submission, please go ahead.
Yeah,
But it doesn't exist.
what do you have to lose if you believe Rashad is a messenger? That's my question.
Well, I think it's the fear of like if you end up following a false messenger, then you reject the true messenger.
You know what's
And
crazy? That's not
Yeah,
even
but
in the
what?
Quran. There's no verse that says you should have fearing following a false messenger. It's not in the Quran.
No, like, give me a good reason he's not a messenger to begin
No,
with.
but hold on. This is a really good point to emphasize. Like, people already have a hard time accepting a messenger as it is. So God doesn't even focus on rejecting a messenger. He says if he's a liar, he's responsible for his obligations. You're responsible for yours. Someone shows up, says worship God alone, doesn't ask for money, comes with proof. Done deal. It's finished.
yeah, at the end of the day, on Yom Kippur, like I have to answer to God myself. So I have to take
Right, but if you
responsibility for my
tell,
own
yeah, but
predictions.
if you tell God, I obeyed your messenger, God will not punish you. God, you sent a messenger. I verified he was a messenger of God. I obeyed you when you told me, hear and obey 19 times in the Quran. 19 times is the command to just hear and obey. That's it. Khalas. God will not punish you for that. He's going to say, oh, well, why did you believe this man? Well, Code 19 was real. He preached the worship of you alone. You told me to obey him. That's it. Done. There's nothing else to do.
But see, the thing about that is, I'm not altering my beliefs, except I would be accepting other interpretations outside of the Quran that he presented.
It's
I
not
already said
outside the
Example?
Quran.
Can you
No, no,
give
no.
us an
We don't
example
even
outside of the Quran?
yeah, like the Day of Judgment being an exact year.
We don't even.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't.
but
Yeah,
Yeah,
God
we don't
says
need to
that in
get.
the
Yeah,
Quran.
yeah. God says it's
or
a.
like
Yeah, everything He says is based on the Quran, brother. Everything Rashad says is based on the Quran.
I will keep it almost hidden, and then God does not
2280
Yeah,
or
but
reveal
they're
any
they're
information to
all.
anyone but the
But
messenger that he chooses.
please, EJ, you're just getting into the nitty gritty of this stuff. It's irrelevant.
it's pretty
Everything
relevant
Rashad
to me.
says. No. Here's the bottom line. Every interpretation that Rashad gives is a valid understanding of a concept in the Quran. There's nothing there
I
that's just
mean,
completely foreign. It's all in the Quran.
isn't it based off of calculations though? Based off of calculations
At the
that he
end of
did?
the day, no, God says there's three ways for knowing the end of the world. All three point to 2280 and 1710. The birth of Jesus, the sleepers of the cave, and the Quranic initials. All three point to 2280 and 1710. That's it.
Like I don't know about that, man. That's the thing. It's like
Yeah,
I'm not in fear of my
but
salvation for what I'm doing right now. No,
brother,
I
if
worship
he,
God
yeah,
alone.
but
I'm stand on monotheism,
if you
following the
disregard a
creed of
messenger,
What do you
if
have
Abraham.
to
you,
lose,
if you
bro?
dis,
What do you
if
have
you
to lose if you
disregard,
believe that?
if you
I have my
disregard a
soul to
messenger,
lose. I have my
if you
soul to lose.
disregard, God warns you in the Quran. The precedent is there. If you disregard a messenger, you go to hell. That's the
No,
bigger
I'm
fear
saying
here.
This is what I'm saying. You said there's no. You just contradicted yourself. You
I
said
did
there's
not
no
contradict
warning
myself.
against. Let me finish. You said there's no warning against false messengers or something like that, right? But then you
Yeah, but
just
there is a
said,
warning. There's a warning against rejecting a legitimate messenger, brother.
right,
That's
exactly. And I think that
yeah. So that's what you would be
yes,
doing. That's what you would be doing. Simple as that.
like I know for sure that Prophet Muhammad was a legitimate messenger. That is
Yeah,
indisputable.
because you
How?
because
How do you know?
you
what gives
verified
you
the Quran.
certainty that he was a messenger?
How do
Wait,
you
wait.
know?
And now
Yeah,
you're
how do you
making
know?
disbelieving arguments. You said, "How do I know Prophet Muhammad was a messenger?" This is a
Yes, yes.
disbeliever question.
No.
No,
Like
brother.
what
Brother,
is your
if you were there, right, in his time, right, Muhammad would have
I am
just been a
not.
man among
I'm
you.
not. This is
I understand.
2025.
I understand. I'm trying to
No
upgrade
need
your
for
perception.
hypotheticals like this.
You're delusional if you think that you would
It's
accept Muhammad today. You
unnecessary.
would
It
takfir
is.
him because
Just
I
don't
Muhammad
hate
let
would
Prophet
preach
guys,
Muhammad
exactly
period.
please,
what Rashad
please,
is saying.
please,
What do you
you
mean?
guys
This
are
is a
please. All of this is unnecessary. Bottom line is you
like
acknowledge
this
that
is my
COVID-19 is
issue
real.
with
Yeah,
this is my
yeah,
issue with
forget
this.
about all this. It's a diversion, brother. All of this is a diversion. Forget about all this. You
Well, why are you
acknowledged if
diverting? Why are
I'm
people in here
sorry. I'm
diverting?
sorry for the diver. I'm sorry. I don't control everybody here. All right. I'm not in charge of everyone's statements. I can only control my own, but I can tell you this. You yourself acknowledged that if COVID-19 is real, this man's a messenger. That's it, done. We just hear and
That's
obey.
it's
That's
not
it.
that simple, man. It's
It
not,
is. It
man.
actually is. God says the
It's
religion
just
is
that
simple.
simple.
It is actually
It's
that simple. Every other path
Literally
that
that simple.
you're trying to take some hybrid methodology. It's not going to work, brother. We've been there, done that. We've seen it all. This
hey,
hybrid,
man.
this
Well,
buffet
so
style.
let me let me
You're
let me
taking
let
a
me present
buffet
this to
style.
you.
Some of this, some of that doesn't work. Go ahead.
Let me present
Go
this
ahead.
to you.
Go
How
ahead.
did I receive the message without the messenger?
I mean, God can divinely inspire everyone. You have the natural instinct to worship God alone. That's in all human beings, 30-30. But now you've been confronted with the most difficult test. God gives us precedent so many times of people rejecting the messenger. If you don't take heed or disregard the messenger, you're cooked.
If I
This is
receive
the
the
lesson.
message without the messenger,
Doesn't matter.
then
Once the messenger's in the picture, now your test is expanded. So you can't say anything.
that doesn't
God is
make
the one.
sense.
It makes perfect sense. You're
Rashad
responsible for what
Khalifa
you know.
for my timeline, for my lifetime, Rashad Khalifa passed away before I heard his message.
That's fine. And now you're aware of him. He was a
I
messenger of
came to that
God.
message
That's
without knowing
fine.
who he was.
Now you're getting the fuller package. God deemed you worthy of receiving the fuller package and worthy of this
So
test. It's
now,
finished.
okay, okay, so listen to my perspective here, right? I came
Good.
to a lot of his conclusions on my own.
It's wonderful. God was preparing you.
There were other
That's fine. That's
conclusions
wonderful.
that he
That's
came
fine.
to that I find a bit
I understand. And that's where the
difficult
test is.
to
Brother,
even
if he said,
validate.
listen to me, brother, if everything he said sat well with you, then what would be the test? There would be no
The
test.
test is monotheism. That's the test.
No. There's
It's hard
different tests
enough.
in the Quran. No, listen to me, brother. There's
It's
different
hard
tests in the
enough.
Quran. Listen to me, brother. There's different tests in the Quran. Test of messengership is another test. God tells us about this in the Quran, chapter 2, verse 143. God
But
says
didn't you
the test
say
was,
he failed
yeah,
his test of messengership?
he failed the test of
And he was
messengership. What are you
and he
talking
was
about?
fired as a messenger?
He was he was a coward to proclaim it, but eventually he did. Just like when Jonah ran away.
This is correct,
Just
right?
like when
But he was
just like when Jonah ran away. Jonah was appointed a messenger. He had a duty. He rejected it. He ran away. Then he repented. He came back. Same with Rashad. He had a
yeah,
specific task. He
but God
denied it.
granted
He
Jonah a
repented. He came back.
miracle.
Yeah, and Rashad
God
got the
granted,
ultimate miracle. And Rashad got
but
the ultimate
that was
miracle.
before or after he was fired from messengership, though.
It's irrelevant, brother. It
No,
doesn't
okay, I'm
matter.
not playing this. It's irrelevant game.
All right,
I'm
all
not
right,
doing
all
that.
right, all right. Okay. I mean,
I'm not doing that.
you're gonna reject the messenger of God that's on you.
Bro, like
Oh
again,
well, God have
what
mercy on my soul if that's the case.
Ibrahim,
He
like
won't.
this
God have
this
mercy
is
on my
the
soul. You
this is
saying he
the
won't is crazy. Like
The
this is
mercy
like
is
Yeah,
his
this is like
guidance. The
yeah.
guidance
The,
is the
this is like
mercy.
takfir.
the
This is like
messenger, the
Salafi
messenger
like
is the
takfir.
mercy. The
That's the
messenger is the
mercy.
mercy. If you reject the mercy, then you're cooked. What do you mean, Salafi takfir? God says in the Quran, it says, who is worse than one is reminded of God's revelations and refuses them? We're giving you God's revelations on a golden platter.
What am I refusing? What am I
The
refusing?
inf-
Tell me.
the
Tell me what I'm refusing.
literally refusing the
My
messenger
issues
of
that
God.
I have, right, is I have an issue with the idea that the day of judgment is known.
That's a
Why?
revelation
Everyone
from
should
God.
know
That's
that
a
everyone should
revelation from
know
God.
the day of
Okay.
judgment. I have an
No,
issue
it's not
with
the day
Satan
of
being a
judgment.
temporary God. Let me finish. I have an issue with Satan being a temporary God of the world. That's an issue of Tawheed.
Yeah, the
So
Tawheed
these are
is
my
spiritual,
issues.
bro.
These are my issues. It's
God is in control all the time. God is doing everything. God granted him this tiny mote, created 7 universes. God gives you an amazing example, right? And within this tiny mote Earth, he put Satan to test. If you claim to fly an airplane, what's the proof that you can do it? We give you a plane here, right? And let's
who
see
in
how
their
you do.
right mind would give someone a plane just because they made a claim that way? Like I
Yeah, that's how
understand
it
your
works. Free.
like I understand your analogy, but it's that it doesn't
Freedom of
make
Listen,
that much
choice, brother.
sense.
Freedom of
let's
choice
be
is very
methodical about
simple.
this. Calm down. Let's be methodical about this. You made 2 positions that you said you had a problem with, right? The first one was at the age of 40, right? We talked about
No,
that at
that
length.
wasn't it. That wasn't it at all. I don't even have a problem with that. I
Sorry,
really
sorry.
don't.
You said the Khalifa and the end of the world. Sorry, my apologies. So the Khalifa, let's say God is the God or temporary God or whatever, however you want to describe
Khalifa
of this
doesn't
earth.
mean God.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Pay attention.
Oh my
If
goodness,
if
family don't
God,
care about words. Like
no,
this is the problem that I have.
listen,
Like if
please,
if
please.
we say, oh, we don't
Bro,
understand
just
Arabic,
listen, bro.
and,
Just
No,
listen
I'm
to
no.
not here
him.
for a
Nobody
lecture.
said,
You
nobody
asked
said,
me what
okay, nobody
you
said Khalifa means God, bro.
I never said that. I
well
literally never said
no,
that.
Yeah, so
Rashad
he's straw
Khalifa
manning you. No, he
interpreted
didn't.
as
No,
God.
Rashad said, no, he didn't. He
Let's
said
read
it's
Appendix 6.
no.
Let's read Appendix
Yeah,
7 again. Let's
he
look at the
says
reference that he
temporary.
used.
He says temporary representative.
Did he say temporary successor?
The
Did he
Let's
tr- the,
say
let
tr- the
temporary
translation.
succession?
Yeah, you're mixing the interpretation with the translation of the verse. You're mixing concepts now. You're
Like
conflating issues.
even you all have an issue with this concept of temporary God. That's why you
No, no,
constantly
we don't. What
no,
do
avoid
you mean?
no,
using the
What
no.
do you mean we
word.
have
What are you
an
talking
issue?
about?
What do you
I
mean? What do you
listen.
have
Let's
an issue? What
Like
are you
you say
let's use
talking
fake
about?
God,
Ibrahim. Let's
not
use some logic.
real.
Ibrahim,
Because I can't
You
Ibrahim.
use scare
avoid
quotes. Wait,
using
wait, wait. Because I can't use scare quotes when I'm talking. Teach me how, brother.
I agree with that. That's why I think it's problematic.
Okay. Okay. So Rashad made clear in the introduction that Satan's a fake God. He's not capable of being a God. Simple as
He didn't
that.
say fake God.
Yes, he
He didn't
did,
say
bro.
that.
That's what scare
Okay.
quotes are. Scare
That's
quotes mean
no,
he's
he
a
said
fake God.
temporary. It's like
Yeah,
now you're
yeah,
rejecting his
yeah.
words.
He
You're
said
rejecting the words of
no,
Rashad Khalifa.
no. Rashad, when he says temporary God, he has God in scare quotes. Scare quotes means it's fake. This is linguistics. This is just simple grammar, man. You're just mixing everything. Come on,
I'm not
please.
mixing anything.
Yes, you
It's
Look,
also
are.
it's also very
I see
simple
how this is
English, right?
going. We're not going to go
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
far
So
with
you
this,
wanna?
but
Ibrahim, you're not
it's all good.
ready to
Let's.
expand your knowledge, right? I was trying to explain to you from a logical perspective. I didn't use Arabic. I didn't use anything. All I'm saying is, why is there strife, murder, crime, suffering in this domain where God is the most merciful, God is the omnipotent, the almighty? Why is there strife? Why are you struggling? Why are the people allowed to reject God? on earth.
You said why? In the Quran, it says that all evil comes from our actions. Our actions.
Right. So
It's in
how
the
is that
Quran
allowed? Yeah, yeah, I understand you have agency. How is
because of
that
free
allowed
will.
by God?
Because of free
Right.
will. He designed
Wh-
us with free will.
Because it's
What
a
is your
satanic world. That's what it is. God's kingdom would not have these things.
Like I
No cancer
understand
in
that this
God's
is how
kingdom.
you understand to deal with the problem of evil. We just disagree here. We disagree. And
Okay, and
I'm
you're and
using
you're
I'm using what
rejecting
the
and you're
I'm
rejecting
using
divine
what the
revelations. That's
Quran
it.
is
Done.
saying. I'm
No,
using
if
what the
you're
Quran. Okay,
yeah,
well, say
yeah,
that, you
you're just
know.
a different version of Muhammad from Satan.
Okay,
What's the
sure. All
difference?
right.
He has
So
his
so what?
permutation, you have yours.
So
Yeah, so you just make it up
now
your own religion. So now you're a religion of one.
I'm
Congratulations.
making up my own
Yes,
religion
yes,
by
yes,
quoting the
yes.
Quran.
Yeah,
Wait, wait,
because
chill, 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 chill,
Am
chill.
I quoting it incorrectly or something? Like
No,
what are
no,
you
but
you're
saying?
misrepresenting the
brother,
Quran.
brother,
Yes,
brother,
yes,
I'm
you're
brother.
misrepresenting.
misrepresenting.
Hold on,
So
one
what does
second,
the
chill.
Quran say about who does evil? Who
Yeah,
does God
Satan
say
does
does
evil.
evil?
Satan, Satan.
He doesn't say Satan does evil in the Quran.
What?
He doesn't say that.
Do
It
you
says
want a
Satan
verse?
influences us.
No, no. So,
That's it.
so, so,
It says
so,
evil comes from our
are
action.
jinns? One second, brother. Are jinns Satan's children?
They're the descendants of Satan, yes.
Yes. Do they?
They don't have any power over
Hold
us.
on, hold on. So when Jacob told God, asked God for help, right? That he was being physically afflicted by Satan. You think that's not a thing?
Are you talking about Job? You
Yeah,
mean
Job.
Job?
My bad, Job.
Job could be incorrect. He could have that. He could have thought
Why
that
why
that
would
was what's happening.
why would God allow that like verse in the Quran if that was the case? And furthermore, like we see that they can affect our physical world, right? In the verses when we talk about Solomon, right? The children of Satan
Look,
Job
look,
says
are
Satan has
affecting the
Job says Satan has afflicted me. It's done.
right.
It's finished. This world is a demonic world, satanic world. Simple as that.
look, he said it
Exactly.
himself, right? Ibrahim said, right? You have a version of why evil exists. I have a version of why evil exists. Right? We have a disagreement. Right? We use the Quran, you use the Quran. You reached a different conclusion to us. Who is the arbitrator? Who would decide who's right, who's wrong?
No, you
If
use
you're
the appendix. You're not using the Quran. You're using the
Bro,
what do you
and
mean?
you're
I
appendix.
use the
using you
Quran,
and you're
bro.
using
Do you want me to
he's
cite verses of the Quran? You said yourself you don't speak Arabic, and all of a sudden you know one word, Khalifa, and you think you're right. How does that make sense?
Hey, you can take that approach if you want. I mean, it's not
No,
gonna get
I'm
you
saying
far.
to you, listen to me. I'm saying
Like
to you,
honestly,
I am and did, right? I reached
that's
a
great.
different
Yeah,
conclusion to you. Which one of our permutation
that's
is
true.
correct?
God guides who He wills. He guides who He wills.
Sure, sure. You're saying, I don't like that this messenger of
There
God
are
is saying
scholars that have been
Khalifa
studying Arabic
refers
for
to
30 years
temporary God.
that don't understand the Quran. Do
bro.
you
So
You're
what's
disagree with
the
saying,
this?
so what's the arbiter of truth? We're using the Quranic system. The Quran says when you have a dispute, refer to the messenger. You're saying I don't want to because he's gonna give a ruling that I disagree with. So your
The
mechanism
messenger
doesn't
is
work.
dead.
Yeah, he does. It
The
doesn't
messenger
matter. We
is
have
dead.
him on camera saying these things. Why do I need his
wait, wait,
physical body? Why his
wait,
physical
wait,
body being alive or dead would make a difference? We have him
wait,
on
wait, wait.
camera saying these things. It's over.
So
We have
if
a
you're,
solution. You don't.
that's right, that's right. If your dad
Okay,
leaves you
well,
a will, right, and says, "Oh, my son, after I pass, I want you to do A, B, C, D. Be a righteous man, don't lie, whatever." If you continue to do and enact his will, are you obeying him or no? Is the act of obedience dependent
And
upon the person being alive?
you don't need his heart beating and his body there to obey his commands. Simple as that. Simple as that. We have a mechanism through this. If you're successful, you recognize that the methodology that we have is a solution, and Quranism is going to fail. If you're not successful, then you're just going to become another Muhammad from Satan, and you're going to have your own permutation of the religion. That's all it is. There's no other way to move forward. The sooner you realize this, the sooner you can come to the clear, straight path, embrace God's religion, and move on. Otherwise, you're going to be in the infinite permutations. You're going to have your own, your own, your own, your own, your own. There's no ummah. God says there's an ummah in the Quran. We are the ummah of the Prophet. We are the ummah of the messengers. We are the millet of Ibrahim. You're going to
So
be
what's
on your
the
own.
test for you? So what's the test for you?
The
How is it a
test is a,
test?
what do you mean for
You
me
have all the
to, for,
answers given to you. How is it a
uh-huh.
test? If you have all the
I
answers
still
given
have
to
to.
you,
I can have all
how
the
is it a
answers.
test?
I have. Even if I have all the answers, I still have to cheerfully submit under all circumstances. I still have my life battles. I still have personal issues that I have to deal with. I still have purifications that I have to experience, and I have to cheerfully submit to God under all these circumstances. Yes, God tests you according to your circumstances, according to what He deems fit. The broader tests are there, and personalized tests also exist. Just like Solomon had a different test than Job. They represented opposite ends of the spectrum. Solomon had a lot of wealth. Job lost all his wealth. There's different tests, but the core concepts are there. And right now, we have to have a coherent doctrine that's in submission. And within that, we have to cheerfully submit to God. That's it. That's it. This is the test. This is why it's submission. If it's just whatever I want, then it's not going to work. There's been times where I disagreed with Rashad. I had to just kill my ego and accept his understanding. That's it. That's it, man. Like I understood abortion should be illegal. Rashad says no, it has to be legal. People have a right to choose. Okay, I hear and I obey. And there's been a bunch of other topics, same thing. The most difficult test is to accept that another human being is giving information that I need to adhere
Okay.
to.
All right. Well, you've been right about one thing, and that's the nail in the coffin for the night. So I appreciate it. You know, I wish you the
bless you.
best. May God have mercy on all of your souls. You know,
God
and that
bless
we
you.
all may be guided to the straight path.
God bless you. God bless you. Thank you so much. Next person wants to talk. Brandy, what did you think? Oh, Brandy's different. Who's the next person that wants to talk? Fake is not. What did you think? Serafina, what did you think? Skip it up. What did you think? Unfazed, what did you think? What did you guys think about this debate today, this discussion, this event? Any of you guys want to speak on any of this? Or this, any of the existing
I think
submitters want to talk about? Yeah, go ahead.
I think like when you were following the like a script, it seemed less natural. But when you were like going blow to blow, right, citing Quranic verses from memory and just reading him and his weird comments, right? Just your reaction alone was already quite powerful. I thought the whole message was delivered well.
That,
You held your composure, and I think you just kept hammering the point, right? You have no religion.
yeah, no, God bless you. That was my whole idea all along. That's why I wanted to be able to have the dialogues. I wanted to have the open attacks because that's where I can take those blows. Yeah, he gets to say some stuff, but then I fight back and I just take shots out of him and land some good blows on him. And so I thought it was crucial to have that element. And so that was a disagreement with AAA. AAA wanted just all to be structured, which is fine. Made a lot of good comments in the structured portions, but I also needed the unstructured portions to be able to, land these shots, address him, you just one up him, use his witty comebacks, make clear points, concise, and just smash him.
I
Get
think
that,
the
get
other
those sound bites. Yeah.
I think the other issue is that people get really frustrated, right, debating Quranists. They keep repeating the same thing. The Quran is its own dictionary, or where does it explain what sujood is and all this stuff. And the thing we need to remember is we're not targeting these people. They've already decided which bank they're in, and it's in the Quranist bank, which is I'm going to define the words to suit whatever the heck I want to do. And that's the point you were driving home, which is that you are suiting your desire. My definition, the whole thing you have to do, and it's a very simple test, literally the simplest test on earth. Prove to yourself that Rashad is not a messenger of God. And there wasn't a single proof. There was just, his accuracy was 50% instead of 70%. Based on Baba Shuaib, who hasn't got, a degree from Al-Azhar. How is that disproving the messenger of God?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It all came down to I don't like what he's teaching. I don't like what he's saying. Therefore, he's not a messenger. This has never been the case in the Quran. So this is a fake system, fake criteria, falsehood. Simple as that. It's just not a thing.
Like I don't get how they say that the prayer is not a big thing. Oh, it's fine. As long as like you said, as long as you just acknowledge my existence, right? I'm a 3 salata, you're a no salata, right? That first Quranist that rocked up said, I don't believe salat is there because A, B, C, D. And if not for the big audience, he would have demolished that guy and said, you don't understand the Arabic. It should be 3 salat. Tarafin means din, zulafan means dil, blah, blah, blah. At what point do you stop, right? At what point do you realize actually you're lacking 20 IQ points? Or, I don't know, you don't speak the Arabic, 7th century Qurayshi Arabic. At the end of the day, this is the easiest thing of your religion. I should be able to wake up every morning realizing, okay, this is what I must do for my religion. I need to worship God in this manner. He hasn't even prescribed his manner. The only thing we didn't attack, I think, in that debate was the revisionist of Quranism. He might pray this way this year, but I guarantee you next year he's going to change some of his positions. And it's the same with every other Quranist. But yeah, I think, well, I guess we have several record. Brother Salami, you rocked up looking spick and span.
That was good. Salami did a great job. Did you guys all record that? Do we have a bunch of recordings, including the comments and everything? We can dig through all those comments and see what we can take from there.
Peace. I got a big file at the end of it. It's just 12 gigabytes, but I missed the first 20 minutes because the video file corrupted.
McClinton, do you have the
Listen.
whole file? McClinton, do you have the whole thing?
I've
Who
got
has the whole thing?
everything as well.
Oh, okay, good.
Do you want me to just put the whole thing in submission archives to start?
Let's take a look at it first, see what's going on, and then afterwards, sure.
I think what I want to get the soundbite is as soon as he says charlatan to Rashad, I would love to use that part because he stopped telling bad words to the messenger after that point. We made the comment, you are calling Rashad these words and this and that, and I missed that part in my recording, unfortunately.
I'll post it on the Google Drive so that we can all just look at it. Yeah, Sister Mila's praising you, bro. Also, just a comment to everyone else in the comment section. They did brilliantly, right? It was a tit for tat constantly. Quranist made some dumb claim about 21 stones. Someone else explains what that means. I thought you guys did brilliantly. There's 300 people watching that. That's a big deal.
I think it was very good by God's grace.
What's weird is there's a cognitive dissonance here. They're looking at that and thinking that Muhammad destroyed Navid. Just don't get it, right? Like, how can you watch another Quranist rock up and say, I don't believe in Salat? Another Quranist asking him, I just want you, Mr. Muhammad, some random guy from nowhere, to tell me if I'm doing my prayer correctly. What gives him the authority?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that guy showed up and he exposed him by saying, I don't, like, my contact pair is different than yours, kind of situation. Was the moment. He got cornered maybe 3 times in a perfect way. The one of them was the translation of the verse, right? The sticks and rub.
Yeah, I think, what was the other one Navid asked him about? Trying to remember. Yeah. Otherwise, I think the whole thing just made sense. Always hiding behind the Arabic words for some reason. I don't get it. Did he say anything that definitively disproved Rashad? Not one thing, right? Because he's saying even his understanding was wrong. He's like, oh, you become a fallen, like a leaf or whatever. Right? I don't know if that disqualifies him as a messenger. That's just an opinion. Have I got it right? Like this classification, someone tell me if I got this right, is that you've got the angels who sided with God absolutely, except for Satan. Satan is the only other angel that kind of like fell or whatever. And then the classification happened. Those who sided with God absolutely became angels. Those who followed Satan became jinns. The hardcore rebels are jinns and humans. And then everything else is the one that chose to repent. Therefore, they weren't angels.
Right, we're supposed to call them creatures, right? Because before the feud, Rashad is calling the Satan as a high, what is it? High skilled creature, or let me see, it's in the appendix.
I ranked.
Some high ranking was
Oh, high
angel, you
ranking.
said?
Yes, yes, that's true. So it like technically before the classifications, the creatures of God has certain ranks. Am I missing something here?
I mean, that's my understanding as well, but I don't know if Brother Peter's around. Maybe he can dive deep into that. But the point is, he believes that the classification happened after angels were selected or decided. Meaning you would be an angel, you fought with, Satan in some way. Then some of those angels decided to repent. They became, according to his, mockery, leaves or retarded children and so on. And some of the other angels became jinns and and humans, which isn't the case. Like the way it was defined, I think you said it there, which is that the higher ranking creature was Satan. He had idolatrous views. Part of that test is those who never doubted God, not even for a second, they became angels, still having a subservient role. Those who chose to repent, they became all other creation, right? Stars, moons, trees, retarded children, animals, any number of things. The ones that sided closer to Satan became jinns. The ones that were indecisive became humans. They were paired together. That's my understanding. I mean, anyone please correct me.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
it makes sense. I mean, what we supported and tried to defend this doctrine was completely made sense. According to Appendix 7 and the verses that he is failing to interpret correctly, we gave all the information that God, taught us as much as possible. But the guy is, do you know what he said? When Navid asked him, what do you think about the age of 40 then? Why God is mentioning the age of 40 then? And then he says, it means that you became a leader.
Leader,
Okay?
yeah.
Look, this way of responding to this verse, interpreting this verse like that, it shows that you are trying to be a tyrant. Is it the word? Tyrant or tyrant?
On
Yes,
earth.
tyrant.
This guy is echoing exactly what Satan did in the high heaven. When my understanding, Satan is a hypocrite, and then he was in the angel side, and he's supposed to be exposed to the other angels to justify his, uh, you know, punishment, right? So imagine, first you are giving the information to a person. Look, I know a little bit better than you, okay? Because imagine the scene. God is telling Adam, give the names to the angels. So at this point, God is letting us to show the correct understanding of the verses to this guy, and this guy is telling us, no, I'll be the leader when I hit the 40. You are not gonna be. You are not in my level. He goes like this in his whole sentences. You can feel the arrogance, and this is very
I
sad.
mean, he keeps saying it's basic Arabic, but he messed up all of the basic Arabic. Right, in 5:6, where he keeps saying it's wipe your feet, the Arabic, the grammar of it suggests that you should wash your feet. The one that he uses, the qira'at that supports his position, even then it doesn't say wipe your feet. Like the Arabic, when you go to the detail of it, is wrong. So if I can't trust you on this basic understanding, how can I trust you in any number of other verses? And just to like drive the point home, let's say you are a super ninja on Arabic translation, right? What happens when another guy who spent 10 years longer and is better than you rocks up And he says, oh, by the way, I've read the Quran and my Arabic is 50 times better and it's 5 times prayer. Do you say then that the last 20 years I've been praying is wrong? Coot, you can speak to us, bro. We're here.
Salam.
Wassalam.
I'm a Sunni Muslim, and I'm not the most knowledgeable because I'm on the path of learning the Deen, and I would like to state some things. So you guys believe in the Quran, except for those 2 ayats that you have said, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're not there yet, but yes, because we validated Rashad as a messenger of God, yes, we don't believe in the 2 false verses. In Surah Bara'ah,
Okay, so
which is
why
also in the...
why did he deny those 2 ayats?
It's very simple. I mean, it's 7 different dimensions where it's rejected. One in the Hadith, only Khuzaimah had this verse, right? And they asked him, this is Zayd ibn Thabit, to the community, like, where do we put these 2 verses that we only found with you? He said, seal it at the end of Surah Bara'ah. In the Hadith, it says Bara'ah. In this same verse, you have Ra'ufur Rahim. These are dual qualities only ascribed to God, not to Muhammad. Never in any other verse, in any other reference, is a man given dual qualities of God. I mean, that's just one of them. You've got Hadith pointing to the fact that these 2 verses are sus. You've got the fact that these 2 verses are Meccan instead of Medinan. You've got the fact that
Hadith of whom?
I'll give it to you, God willing. Give me a sec. Oh wow, we got nice.
And VC1 dash.
Oh, you just posted it. Nice. So you got many testimonies, people saying that this is not mutawatir. And yet Khuzaimah is the single person in the isnad that his testimony counts as 2. The only person with these 2 verses counts as 2.
Okay, but here I see the first contradiction. You guys said that you denied Hadith and the narrations of the Prophet.
No, brother, you not contradictions. You're misconstruing what I said. I said there's 7 different dimensions as to why this is wrong. I'm only using your sources because you believe in it. I don't believe in it. The Quran says in 7750, فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثٍ بَعْدَهُ يُؤْمِنُونَ. Which hadith other than this will they believe in? Same
Okay,
as
so I'm not,
4456.
I didn't search for this hadith, so I'm not gonna make a fatwa on it. So I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna say something that may be wrong. So what I'm gonna say, in the Quran, Allah orders you to follow the Prophet and his hadith.
I am.
Do you believe in tafsir?
There's no verse that says follow hadith. Like, that's not a thing in the Quran.
Okay, but it says follow the Prophet. How do you follow the Prophet?
Yeah,
If you
can
don't
you prove any hadith is from the Prophet verbatim?
Okay, I will give you an ayah and I will read the tafsir. In which tafsir do you believe? Or you don't take tafsir, you just
Brother,
interpret?
I didn't say for you to give me an ayah. Can you prove any hadith is true and it's verbatim from the Prophet? That's what I'm asking.
Yes, because the imams that have gathered hadith, they have lived in the same age that the Sahabis lived in, and the Prophet.
That's a lie.
In the books, it's in the books.
Which Imam? Which
Yeah,
Imam?
that's not accurate. That's not accurate. None of the compilers of the hadith were around at the time of the Prophet or the companions of the Prophet. So you're not getting accurate information. Simple as that.
Okay,
The
but
oldest one, the earliest one is the Muwatta of Malik, which is 176 years after the Prophet died. None of the companions were alive. And the first Sahih collection of the Sitta is 244 years after the Prophet died.
So why do
So
we have any obligation to believe them?
you
okay,
don't.
God actually,
There's
it
none. There's
actually is.
none. There's none. There's no obligation.
Is saying which
Yeah, there's none. There's
hadith other
none.
than these
Slow
do
down.
they
Slow
believe in?
down. Yeah, slow down. There's none. There's no obligation. Anyone claiming otherwise has to substantiate it.
I
There's
don't
none.
get it. Are you arguing with the other guy?
Yeah. So just prove one hadith to us. Go ahead.
Okay, I will not prove one hadith. I will give you an ayah that tells you to follow the Prophet.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything anyone says is from the Prophet.
How do you follow someone? How did
Huh?
you follow your messenger, Rashad? How do you follow
We
Rashad?
we have him on
You
camera speaking.
you
It's
have
not
him on
hadith.
camera.
Yes.
Okay. If you didn't have him on camera, you
Yeah.
wouldn't believe in the narrations.
No, we don't accept narrations.
Okay,
There's no
okay, okay,
narrations
okay,
from Rashad.
okay. So
God
you
commands
basically
you to verify
you basically
everything. Use
Yeah,
your
yeah,
mind
listen,
and
listen to
your
me. Listen to me.
reasoning to
Listen to me.
verify
Listen to me. Stop,
every
EJ.
claim.
EJ, please. EJ,
wait.
please. It's very simple. It's very simple. There's a people alive right now that met Rashad. Okay?
Okay.
I don't go to them and say, hey, tell me what Rashad says. And I consider them trustworthy. This person is trustworthy. Therefore, I accept what they say. No. I only go with things that I can actually attribute to him, like his videos, like his audios, like his voice, like his books that he published. Things that are actually attributable to him. That's it. I don't rely on chains. There is no, actually, the chain is just one person right now, right? Because these are people that were with Rashad, right? That were when he was alive. But I don't go to them to get statements from what Rashad said. So there's no comparison. I only go by something I can 100% verify is from him.
Okay. So basically, you stated an ayah. One of you stated an ayah that says فبأي حديث بعده يؤمنون.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So the tafsir of this ayah, the Holy Quran
Yes.
is the last book of Allah, which explains its message and wisdom most
Yes.
lucidly,
Yes.
eloquently,
God says,
elegantly,
yeah. Yes,
and
and we have a translation. I need. If I'm not a native Qurayshi Arabic speaker, and neither are you, then we need a modern translation, and that's what the Messenger of the Covenant did. So with Rashad Khalifa, we have a modern translation, and it's finished. How do
okay.
you read the Quran?
Do you have the? I read it in Arabic, and I read the tafsir.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
fine.
interpret.
That's
I don't.
fine, but you don't have.
How do you know
Well,
the tafsirs are correct, though?
yeah, you don't know. You don't know. See, we have a
Who are you
miracle for our
trusting? God says
messenger.
trust him and trust his messengers, right? He
Who's
shall
Yeah,
be
we have to
obeyed and
trust the
trusted.
messenger. You're not a messenger, so we cannot
I
trust
can't
you. But
trust just
Rashad
like
Khalifa,
random dudes.
I'm giving you a narration of Ma'arif al-Quran.
I don't care
there's
about
no
that.
narration. There's no
I don't care
narration.
who
It's
that is,
Whose
bro.
evident.
I don't know what that is.
narration do you follow? Whose narration do you follow?
Are you Sunni? Wait, is this guy Sunni?
Yes, I'm Sunni.
Oh, okay. I thought you were Quranist. Okay. So what's your
No,
question?
no. I'm telling you the explanation of this ayah. But you're
Which ayah?
telling me فبأي حديث بعده يؤمنون.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying so you're telling me that the hadith cannot be taken into consideration because this ayah states this means.
This and many other hadiths is telling us
It does
do
not
we
have to be.
uphold or believe in any
It does
other
not. It
hadith?
does not.
And the answer is no, Lord, we accept this hadith. But you wanna come back to it like, no, actually I believe in some other stuff too.
Okay. So you're telling me that the Prophet, because he does not have any camera footage of him saying his hadith, you're denying his hadith and you do not follow.
He has well, he wouldn't have. So there's two issues: authenticity and authority. Right? You
Okay.
can't authenticate any statement attributed to him, and
He
then
can't.
there's
Yeah, he
no
can't call
authority
laws outside
for
the
laws.
Quran. Yeah.
Laws outside the Quran would be a separate source of law. The only source of law is the Quran. Finished.
Yeah, you're making the Quran incomplete. I can't accept that, brother. I believe the Quran is fully detailed, perfect, and complete.
You're the
You're
ones
making the complete.
Quran. You're the ones making the Quran full of contradiction. You're telling me we can't
How?
obey you're telling me we can't obey the Prophet when the Quran clearly tells you obey the Prophet.
I do obey the
Wait, which verse
Prophet.
says
I
obey the
obey him
Prophet? Give
every
me one
day.
verse. Give me one
How?
verse that says obey Prophet. Show me one
Okay.
verse that says obey Prophet.
Okay. I'll get to you. Just give me a minute.
Just one. You made a claim. You cannot substantiate it.
Wait, I'm not. I didn't memorize the ayah. Just give me 1
You
second.
just said there's verses that says obey the Prophet. Where is it?
I'll give it to you. 1 second. You need to be patient, brother. صبر.
Sabr kondar. That's a sabr, bro. Alright, let's have him get the verse that says obey the prophet. I've actually never heard that verse myself before. I know Sunnis refer to it a lot, but I think it's just non-existent. It says obey the Nabi. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know nothing about. Did you get the verse?
Yes, I got two verses in Surah An-Nisa. You understand Arabic, or do I have to say it in English?
Read it for us. We understand Nabi, so I want to see says Atil Nabi.
What?
He said obey the prophet, right? That
Yes.
translates in Arabic to Atil Nabi.
Yes. من يطع الرسول.
Okay, show me. But
من
that's
يطع
not
الرسول.
a
سورة
Nabi.
النساء.
No,
سورة
that's not
النساء.
that's a Rasul. Rasul is different than a Nabi, bro.
Okay, من يطع الرسول, who is meant here? Go to
Yeah.
the context. Go to the
I know.
context. of ayat
Rasul
Surah
is
An-Nisa.
different. I understand.
Okay,
Rasul is
which
not.
Rasul is meant here? We have many Rusul.
This is Muhammad. This is Muhammad. This refers to
Okay,
Muhammad,
this
but
is
it doesn't say.
This is Muhammad.
I
This is
know.
Muhammad. The one
No,
you
I know. Muhammad.
The one you
No.
deny. Let me
Navid
finish.
asked you specific. Okay, go ahead.
The one you deny his hadith. Muhammad is mentioned here in this ayah. This is the Rasul that is meant in this ayah. The ayah states, من يطع الرسول فقد أطاع الله ومن تولى فما أرسلناك عليهم حفيظا. Do you want me to read
Okay,
the
I
tafsir
know.
that I have?
I understand.
This
It doesn't say obey the prophet. It says obey the messenger. You understand?
Okay. Who's the messenger of Allah?
Muhammad in here. Navid asked you specific
Muhammad
questions.
in
Says
here.
where does it? No, Navid asked you where does it say obey the
Go to
prophet?
the context.
It doesn't say that.
Go to the context
Oh
of the
my
ayah.
God.
Who's the
Can you
prophet
translate?
of
Translate the term.
Quran does not
Translate
tell you. The Quran does
No.
not tell you Rashad is the prophet of the Ummah. Muhammad is the prophet of
No,
the
he's
Ummah.
not. We never claimed that Rashad is the prophet of the Ummah, but where are you getting that from?
Right.
Okay. So who is meant here?
Who's meant here?
Yes.
Just
in
ask
this
him
ayah,
who's
who
the
is meant?
messenger of the covenant? Who's the messenger of the covenant? Tell us this.
Rasul Misaf is Rashad
Who's Rasul
Khalifa.
Misaf? Who's
Can
Rasul
you answer my
Misaf?
question first? Can you answer my question first? In this context,
I don't know what mantir is, bro. I don't know what that word is. What is mantir?
What?
شو منتي؟ من يطع الرسول فقد أطاع الله.
Oh, man yati.
من يطع
Yeah.
the word that you just mentioned.
Oh, I thought you
The
said
one that
mantir. I was like,
No,
what is
يطع.
it? Yeah, I know. Who says whoever obeys the messengers obeys God. I
يطع
understand.
Okay, so who's the prophet that is mentioned here?
Muhammad.
Okay, Muhammad. So the Quran clearly states من يطع الرسول فقد أطاع الله.
Yes, that's correct. I agree with that.
Okay, so how do you obey the prophet?
I obey the messenger by upholding the message he came with. What was
How
the
do you obey the
risala?
prophet?
Yeah, so
The
if the prophet
risala.
if
The
the prophet
risala.
says if the prophet says go if the prophet says prepare your sword, I'll go do that. Whatever the prophet says, whatever the messenger says, I have to obey him.
Okay,
Bukhari
but
is not
you're
that
denying
prophet.
what he
No,
says.
Sajid, no, you can't prove that's what he said.
I can prove what he said.
No, you can't. Prove the Bukhari is
Let
representing
him do.
Muhammad.
Prove one hadith. Prove one
He
hadith.
can't. Sajid, don't
The
divert. Don't think,
Quran, the
oh, I'm going to
Quran,
obey the Quran. The
the
Quran never
Quran.
acknowledges ilm rijal. You're using ilm rijal. Where does it say in the Quran to use ilm rijal?
What?
Where does the Quran authenticate ilm rijal?
Wait 1 second. I'll give you an ayah with a tafsir.
There's no
that
such
tells you.
thing.
There's no
There's
ilm
no.
rijal, bro.
Brother,
Sajid,
please,
don't
this time,
divert. Just
please,
answer him
this
directly.
time.
Sajid, please.
Not
Sajid,
diverting. Yeah.
I've been on for 8
I'm not
hours straight
diverting,
today.
bro.
Yeah, no,
Not
you're saying
diverting.
I'll obey the message you brought. Just answer him directly. If the message
Yeah,
teaches you something, that's it,
I
done.
accept that.
Okay,
I accept that.
now he's claiming Bukhari represents the Prophet.
No, that's
I
false.
didn't
Bukhari is not
get
a
the word
messenger.
from al-Bukhari, first of all.
Okay,
So
so I
you're
don't have to obey him. Okay, finished.
how are you claiming that you don't have to obey the Prophet when the Quran
No, I
clearly
said I
tells
don't
you
have
to
to
obey?
obey. I said I don't have to obey
Bro,
Bukhari or
Bukhari doesn't
Tirmidhi.
represent the Prophet.
Bukhari doesn't tell you to obey him. He tells
Bro,
you that
bro,
he tells you
we don't
he tells you
accept your
he tells you
representation of the
listen
Prophet,
listen
bro.
listen. He tells you the Bukhari states hadiths narrated from the Sahabis. Okay, Sahabis.
Okay, I don't have to trust them.
No, that's not true. There's no Bukhari never met any Sahabi. Sajid,
Wait,
why
when
are
did
you letting him get away with this? Why are you
One
letting him
second.
get away with this nonsense?
All right, you can continue, Navid. Go ahead.
I
One
can't. I'm in
second.
a dead zone. I
Okay, then just
can't.
leave
I
it
can't.
to me. Just leave it to me then. Either
Okay, then
you
step
do it on
up.
your own. Okay, let me. I'll handle it. Don't worry about it.
1 second. I'll get another
Go ahead.
guy with it here. That's okay. 1 second.
What are you looking for?
1 second. An ayah that gives you a confirmation that the Sunnah and the Hadith is يعني,
There's
preserved.
no such
It's not.
thing, bro. There's no such thing as Sunnah
There is
Muhammad
such
in
thing.
the
I will give it
Quran.
to you. 1 second.
There's no. I want to see it.
Okay, I'll send it to you. 1 second.
Sure.
But make
Let's see
sure
it.
the word sunnah is there, okay, this time. Because last time you said the prophet is there and it was not there.
There was no prophet. There was no Sunnah. There was none of that.
Okay, to whom was it revealed then? The Quran.
Muhammad, bro. Why you, bro? You said you're gonna
telling me
bring a
there's no
verse.
Sunnah. There's no Sunnah.
No, there's no
How is
Sunnah
there no
Muhammad.
Sunnah?
There's no Sunnah Muhammad, bro.
How is there no Sunnah of Muhammad when it was revealed
It's
to
just
him?
not part of
When the
religion. It's
Quran.
not part of the. It's not part of the religion of submission, bro. It's not existent.
Okay, your religion of submission, your new religion.
No,
Your
my religion is older
Bro,
than
just
you.
show us
My
a
religion is a religion of submission from Abraham.
your religion is taking proof from the Quran. I will give you things
Sunnah.
from the
Show
Quran.
us Sunnah. Show
Okay,
us Sunnah
give
of
me
the
the
Prophet in the
verse.
Quran. We become Sunni. So show us Sunnah.
Okay,
Show
one
us
second,
Sunnah
one
of the
second.
Prophet in the Quran. That's it.
You're not giving
Show
me.
us Sunnah of the Prophet so
You're
we can
not giving
follow
me.
it.
You just entered a debate. You had days to prepare for your debate. I just entered now. Give
Okay,
me
then
some time.
prepare. It's
Give me
okay.
some time.
Take your
Give me some
time.
time. Son. Give me some time.
Take your time. Okay, no problem.
Did he leave?
Well, he's here.
No.
Oh.
Ajahn, are you talking right now?
No, he's not. We're waiting for him to get the verse.
Wait 1 second. 1 second.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, I mean, there is no verse, so it's not coming. There is no Sunnah of the Prophet. There is no
Brother,
Sunnah of the
just give me
Nabi. There
some
is no
time.
Sunnah of
Give me some
Muhammad.
time.
It's not-
Why
Yeah,
are you
sure.
scared?
Okay, okay.
Give me
All
some
right.
time.
All right.
Bro,
I'm
you
not.
have the whole day,
I'm
bro.
scared.
Take a year. You should
Go ahead,
find it out
get
become
all the
Sunni.
time you want. You show us a verse. You show us a verse that says Sunnah of the Prophet. We're gonna submit.
It
God
will not
willing.
get literally. It will not literally state follow the Sunnah of the Prophet, but it will tell you follow
Oh,
the
so
Sunnah.
there, because it doesn't exist. So why are you assuming that such a thing exists?
Okay. 1 second. 1 second.
You just made something up then.
Navid, peace,
Peace,
everyone.
peace, dog.
Okay. I have an ayah. Okay, I have an ayah. In Surah Al-Hijr.
Okay.
Okay.
What does it say?
وإنا نحن نزلنا الذكر وإنا له لحافظون. تمام. Okay, I will give you the tafsir that I have, because you can't interpret the Quran the way you
Bro,
want.
this has nothing to do with Sunnah, bro. What are you talking about? You concede on
1
that?
second.
That there's no Sunnah?
Can I read the tafsir that I have? Then you can talk.
Sure, but is this relevant to the Sunnah or is this
Yes,
something else?
yes,
Okay.
because نحن نزلنا الذكر to whom was the dhikr revealed to? The Prophet, right?
Muhammad. What does
The
that have to
Prophet,
do with
right?
Sunnah, bro?
Sunnah consists of revealing the Quran to the Prophet.
Oh
Sunnah
my
completes
God.
Sunnah completes the Quran. Does the Quran tell you the arkan of Salah, or do you
Okay.
pray it however you want?
So there's no Sunnah in the Quran,
Just like
right?
Quranist, you have
We
been talking all
acknowledge.
day about you
No,
have been
there's no.
you have been all day
No.
talking about Quranist, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk
Right?
about them, God willing, but here's the issue. You said
Okay,
there's a Sunnah in the
You're
Quran,
talking,
you can't find it. Now you want to go to some other verse. Wait,
okay.
hello? Hello? Yeah, now
We
you
can't
want to
hear
go to
you.
some other verse. Yeah, now you want to go to some other verse to say that, okay, we need to have the Sunnah for some other reason. So, Sunnah is not mentioned at all. Can we agree to that? There's no Sunnah of Muhammad anywhere in the Quran.
Okay. Can I read the tafsir?
Go ahead, read it.
Okay. Commentary. An episode from the court of Mu'minun. Ma'mun. Okay. You can open the book and you can read it. Imam al-Qurtubi has authentically reported an event from the court of Abbasi Khalifa al-Ma'mun. He was used to patronizing occasional debates on intellectual issues at his court, where all scholars were welcome. It so happened that a Jew came to attend one of these debates. By his looks, dress, and manners, he seemed to be an elegant person. Then his address during the debate was eloquent and intellectually bright. When the meeting was over, Ma'mun called for him and asked him if he was an Israelite. Then he asked him, why did he become a Muslim? Okay, he said that he was not willing to leave the religion of his forefathers, which was his religion too. The matter ended there. The person went away. Then, after a year, the same person returned as a Muslim and made a very distinct contribution in the court meeting on the subject of Islam jurisprudence. After the session was over, Ma'mun called for him and asked him if he was the same person who had come last year. He said, yes, I am. Ma'mun asked. At that time, you had refused to accept Islam. Tell me what made you accept Islam now. Okay, I want you to focus here. He said, when I went back from here, I decided to do some research on contemporary religions. I am a scribble. I write books and sell them. They bring a good
Just
price.
shorten
This
it,
time,
summarize it, bro. We don't have all day. Just say what you have to
okay,
say.
I'm almost finished. I write books and sell them. They bring a good price. This time I wanted to make a test. First, I calligraphed 3 manuscripts of the Torah. Tamam, the Torah, in which I made, you know the Torah, right?
Are you done?
No. I'm asking you, do you know the Torah?
Yeah, of course I know the Torah.
Okay. I calligraphed 3 manuscripts of the Torah, in which I made some additions and deletions on my own. Okay, focus here. I took these manuscripts to the synagogue. The Jews found them interesting and bought them. Then I did the same things with the Injil. I calligraphed 3 manuscripts, complete with my additions and deletions, and took them to the church where the Christians were pleased with these manuscripts and brought them from me. After that, I tried the same thing with the Quran that you claim to be changed. I calligraphed 3 good-looking manuscripts of the Quran, of course, with the usual additions and deletions of my own. When I went out to sell them, I faced a problem. Every buyer I went to would take the manuscript, look into it, and determine if it was correct or not. And when he would notice additions or deletions made it into, he would quietly return the manuscript back to me. From the episode, I learned my lesson that this book is protected and protected by Allah Ta'ala Himself. Therefore, I embraced Islam.
What is this?
Okay,
The hell is
this is about the claim.
have to
This is
follow
about
the sunnah,
okay.
bro.
Let me finish. This is about the claim that you say that there are two ayat that are not from Allah. They are added to the
Hey,
Quran.
wait. Are we done with
Sajjad, you
sunnah?
said
There's
you're in
no
charge,
sunnah
but you're just
anymore.
letting him rag on. He's just been ranting. Sajjad, you're in charge,
One
man.
second, one
Bro,
second, one second.
That's
no. It's
enough.
okay.
That's enough. That's enough.
No,
Look,
no, that's not
Oh,
enough.
no, he
That's not
stop,
exposed
EJ.
that's
himself.
Stop,
not
No,
that's
EJ.
Navi,
not enough.
Who
Navi.
put you in charge, Sajjad?
He exposed
Please stop,
himself, bro.
EJ.
He exposed
بس
himself.
دیگه.
Brother,
بابا بس
brother,
بابا
دیگه.
زایه شد
brother, I did not
Bro.
complete my tafsir. I did not complete my tafsir.
But see,
Did
here's the
Rashad?
problem with your tafsir because it's making multiple claims and we have to address
It has
them. Like,
nothing to do with sunnah, bro. Are we done with that? There's no
exactly.
sunnah in the Quran?
No, we did not
You're
reach
making a
Sunnah. We
lot
did
of
not.
claims.
Yeah, we're done. We're
We did,
finished.
we
So
did,
you have
we
no
did not.
point.
We did not reach. Are you afraid to let me speak?
No, you're just talking for
Okay, then
5
let me
minutes
speak.
about
Then
an
let me speak.
unrelated
Then let me
topic,
speak.
bro.
If you don't have time, you can leave the call.
Listen. It
There are
doesn't
other
matter
people
what
who want.
this. It doesn't matter what this tafsir says because it's some guy, some Jewish convert, hundreds of years after Muhammad, in
I'm telling you a
some
story.
sport. I don't. It doesn't matter, bro. It
I'm
doesn't
telling you
matter
a
what
story
you're
that.
bringing.
I'm telling
It's
you a story.
irrelevant.
Stories that are irrelevant in our
Yeah, it's like
religion
I'm
because
telling you a
who
story that
is
is
this guy?
narrated.
I saw
I'm
We have
Navi
telling you.
a year ago and he
we have no
rejected that.
obligations
I'm
to
telling you a
believe
story that is
any
narrated. I'm telling you a story that is narrated from the best. From the best.
Bro, this is not even.
I'm telling you a story that is
we
narrated
have
from
no
the best ulama.
obligation. We
This
have
is
no
I give.
ridiculous.
obligation to believe these stories. Zero.
Yeah, we have no obligation
Okay,
to believe
okay,
in this.
okay, okay. Did
You're
Rashad
bringing,
teach you?
Why should we believe this?
you're bringing a
Did your
source
messenger?
we don't
Did your
even
messenger
believe in.
teach you? Did your messenger teach you to cut people when they're talking?
No, you're bringing it.
Bro,
That's something Rashad would tell you.
it's
If you
Sajjad
listen to him.
بس دیگه. بس دیگه
Not,
bro. من
Listen,
الان
guys,
اینو
guys.
الان میخوام
not.
میوتش کنم
Okay,
این
Navi, you
چیزو.
go ahead. Navi, you got this.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
can't, bro.
Okay, then just leave it then. Leave it.
Then why are you
I
doing
got
such
it.
a horrible job?
I'm not doing a
You said
horrible job.
I'm in
Okay,
charge.
okay.
You
I
You know
have
what?
it.
You know what? You know
Have
what?
it.
I'll
bro
skip some
الان
parts.
5 دقیقه است یارو داره زر میزنه. بس
What's
دیگه.
what's going on?
Okay, wait.
Nothing.
Peter
He's
got this,
screaming
bro.
at.
I'll
Let
skip
Peter
the.
take over. Let Peter take over.
Peter, go ahead.
He's
Please.
saying, he's saying that we have to follow the prophet. We're saying, yeah, we follow the prophet. Prove Bukhari's from the prophet. Simple as that.
Yo,
Done.
he's doing
All
something
this other stuff.
interesting right now. He's bringing this story about a
Okay.
Jewish
Do you want
convert to
me? Do you
Islam,
want me to give? Do you want me to
and
give you
how
the
that
proof
proves
tomorrow?
sunnah for us.
I'll give you the
Interesting,
proof by
bro.
tomorrow. I'll give you the proof by tomorrow from Al Bukhari.
I don't care about Bukhari, bro.
Is that good with you? But let me finish that
We're
right
talking
now.
about the
I'll go.
Quran, bro.
Wait. I'll go get my proof from the Bukhari. But let me finish my tafsir now. Let me finish my tafsir, then I'll go sleep. And tomorrow morning, I will give you the proof of
Okay,
Al
go.
Bukhari.
I actually want to see how
Let
this
me-
tafsir ends. I'm actually
Okay.
invested now.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. If you don't want to listen, you can leave. There are
No,
people
I'm
that want to.
listening. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm not. Okay. Thank you. So I'll skip some parts. So you can. So we can finish faster. The promise of the protect. The promise of to the protect. The promise to protect the Quran includes the protection of Hadith. This ayah promises the protection of the Quran that was revealed to the Prophet. It includes the protection of Hadith. As a matter of principle, let me finish. All learned people agree that the Quran is neither the name of the words of the Quran alone, nor that it is the meaning alone. Instead, a combination of both.
What are you reading from? Like
Quran.
this,
So the
where are you reading
tafsir.
from?
Listen, he
Imam
was reading a
al-Qurtubi.
tafsir. Yeah, he was reading a tafsir
Like
about
who
a Jewish convert
who,
who was trying to
who
replicate
cares
verses
about
of
this?
the
Like
Bible. Yeah, this is what we're telling him. So he's saying because the Quran is preserved,
This story proves that the Quran is unchanged. This
yeah, brother,
ayah
like
proves
this hey, let me ask you this.
this.
If you're debating with Christians, let me ask you this. If you're debating with Christians, right? Are you gonna bring up hadith to prove their
No,
scriptures wrong?
I'm giving you verses. I'm giving you
Yeah,
verses
okay,
from the
yeah.
Quran.
So
I didn't give
you're
you a hadith.
yeah,
I
but
didn't
brother,
give you a hadith.
your
I gave you a verse.
interpretation, yeah, listen, your interpretation of the Quran is
It's
just
not from
wrong.
the Sunnah. It's not from the Sunnah. Who do you
No,
interpret?
look. No one was
Wait.
even making this argument that you're making.
No. On the chat I was talking to, some people said that Rashad removed 2 verses from the Quran to prove his 19 quote thing.
No, that's not true.
So first he failed, so he said there's
They're
Sunnah in
the
the
ones who
Quran.
fail.
He asked him to show it. He failed, and he wants to change the
Listen,
subject.
listen. If the people of your religion can't agree on one thing, it's not my fault. The people on your chat has told me
No.
that
Like you're
two verses,
brother. Okay, yeah.
have been removed. Two
Yeah,
verses
yeah,
have
but
been
you don't.
removed.
Okay. All right, like, do you give a chance? Because you remind me. How old are you?
18.
Okay, yeah. This is your generation's issue. You guys think you know stuff, and you just come in like bull in a china shop, right? And you don't ask questions. So you come in with
Okay,
basically
I
preconceived
literally asked.
notions.
Go back to my
Okay.
first
So
question.
like reading
Didn't
from
I
a
ask?
tafsir, it has no
Navid,
bearing to
is
us.
Navid here?
Making
Wait,
false
is Navid here?
accusations has no bearing to
Is
us.
Navid here? Is Navid here?
Yeah, what's my false claim, bro? What are you saying?
Is Navid here? I went to
Yeah,
the
I'm
loan.
talking. I'm right here.
Okay. Chill. Didn't I ask you the first question that when I came into the server, what is the submission?
Yes, we worship God alone. You worship the prophet. We
Yes, I
worship
asked.
God.
No one answered me. But
Okay.
then I
Yeah.
understood that you
Just
removed
run
two
with it,
verses.
Peter. Just run with
Some
it.
people,
Just keep
from your
going. Yeah,
server,
prove a single
some people.
hadith. Yeah,
Yeah.
prove
So
Bukhari. Prove
You,
hadith. We're
listen.
waiting.
Yeah. I mean,
you
hey, look.
don't go back to the point of Al
Yeah.
Bukhari. I told you tomorrow
Yeah.
morning I will get
So
you the
Cal,
proof of
Okay,
Al
so what do
Bukhari.
you want to talk
yeah,
about
you
I'm
now?
can.
What do
talking
you want
about
to
Right.
talk
something
about
different.
now? What
I'm
do you want to
talking
talk
about
about now?
something
What do you
different.
want to talk
I'm
about
talking
now?
about
What do you want
something
to talk
different.
about now? What do you want to talk about now?
He's telling me your generation thinks
Yes.
they're correct about everything.
Yes,
I
you think
literally
you
asked.
know something and
No,
you
it's
don't.
not correct.
I
It's not
literally
correct.
asked.
Like,
Just
brother,
move
you
on to
didn't
the
even
next
get my point
topic. That's
right.
enough.
Oh,
Move on to the next topic.
okay.
Just move on to the
Cal,
next
you didn't
topic.
even
What do you
hear
want
what
to
I
talk
said.
about now? Okay, what
I
do you want to talk
literally
about now? What do you want to talk about now? No, that's enough.
listen.
What do you want to
I
talk about
literally,
now? You
I
just
lit, I
lectured on.
literally,
Sajan
I
was so
literally,
nice. He let you lecture on for 10 minutes saying nonsense. What do you want to talk about now?
I literally asked you about
Just
your
give him.
religion. You failed.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, Peter, he came here and asked him questions.
You
Okay,
failed.
great.
You
Okay, let's
you
Hey,
didn't
finish
go.
it.
Navi,
Next topic.
Hey, Navi, just take a break, brother. Like, look, bro, I even want to take a nap, right? Like, just
Did
chill.
I?
It's fine. Like, dude, we talk
Did,
to these guys 24/7. It's not a big deal. We can handle this, right? Just
did,
like chill.
did I ask you about your religion?
Yeah, Cal.
Yeah,
Okay. Right.
I asked
So
him. I
your
asked him.
claim, yeah. So
Wait, one second. I don't.
brother. I'm talking. Okay, I don't need you interrupting. I just started talking. Okay.
I talked before you.
So your claim is that basically it was always part of the Sunnah. Everyone always understood that you needed the Hadith with the Quran. That's your claim, right?
Yeah,
The problem is, why did none of the four rightly guided Khalifas make any effort whatsoever to write down, catalog, or preserve the Hadith?
because at that time they were giving the risala. At the
Okay,
time, they were giving the risala. There was not even enough copies of the Quran to give to the people.
so they
So,
made
so the
deliberate
priority,
efforts.
the
Let me
priority
finish.
here is the Quran.
Yeah.
The priority here is
So
the Quran. Not the,
they made deliberate efforts to write down the Quran. Okay,
yes,
they did not give a
yes.
crap about the Hadith. When the 70 Gora
They
died during the battle, let me finish. When the 70 Gora died at the Battle of Yamama, there was not a peep from them regarding, oh, we lost Hadith. Okay, this was
okay,
never a
okay.
thing. Their only concern was that they were going to lose the Quran. Right? If they
Yes,
thought that the
that's
Hadith,
true. The priority.
if they thought that the Hadith was a secondary source of law that was essential in understanding the religion, why did it take 100 years before anyone made any kind of formal effort to write it down?
Okay, I will give you my response. First of all, the Quran copies back then were given with tafsir from the Hadith. Okay,
Prove it.
they were.
Prove it. Show me one tafsir from the
Go back
Hadith
to the
from
go
that
back
time
to the
period. No,
old copies.
prove it. You made a claim. Show me one
I,
mushaf
I
that
want
basically has that.
I want go
Show
search
me
for it.
one. Yeah, show me
I
one.
want go search
Let
it.
me. Okay,
I
okay,
will give
okay.
you.
Yeah. Show me.
I'll give you my
I'm giving
first.
you the criteria. I'm giving you the criteria. Okay.
Okay.
Show me a single manuscript of Hadith in the first century. Right. That's a tafsir of the Quran. The Hadith today isn't even a tafsir of the Quran.
Okay. I didn't say that the Hadith is tafsir of the Quran. I told you the Quran copies back then had tafsir in them.
Show me one
Tafsir
mushaf
from
with
the
that.
Sahabas.
Show
Tafsir
me
from the
one. Show
Sahabas.
me a mushaf. Show me a
Okay,
mushaf
I'll
that
give it to you by
contains this.
tomorrow. I'll give it to you by tomorrow. I told
Okay,
you.
we'll wait.
I
We'll
just
wait.
I just
So
joined
you
the
don't
call.
have it.
I
Yeah.
just
So
joined the
listen.
call.
Okay. You
Listen.
can't make the claim until you substantiate it. You can't make the claim.
Okay.
Right? It's a false claim that you're making. You're making a claim that there's mushafs today that have
Okay.
tafsir based on the hadith of the Quran.
Okay.
Okay,
so
I want to see it in the first century. Show me a first century mushaf that contains
okay,
this.
I'll bring it by tomorrow and we'll talk about that. But 1 second. You said that you didn't remove your religion, or
No,
Rashad
no, we're not done. We're
didn't
not done.
remove the
Wait,
verses.
brother, we're not there yet, right? You still have to substantiate your hadith, right?
Okay,
So look.
I'll
There
bring
was
it
a
by tomorrow.
zero.
I'll bring
Let me
it by
finish. Yeah,
tomorrow.
okay. Yeah, but we're talking about the hadith right now. Okay, they
Okay,
made
but I was
zero
talking
effort.
about something else.
They made zero
I
effort
was
to
talking
write
about
down.
something else.
Okay,
You
let
just
me
opened
finish.
this
Yeah, we'll
topic.
get there.
You just opened this topic.
Yeah, no, this is the topic. This is the topic. It's not I'm opening the topic. This is
No,
the
no, you
topic,
just opened this topic. I
right?
wasn't
So
talking
just
about
listen.
this.
Yeah. Okay. Hey,
I
if this is a
was talking
problem
about the
for you,
Quran being preserved.
if it's a
You just
problem for you, yeah, if it's a problem for you, right? Talking about hadith, you don't want to discuss it. That's on you, man. Okay, I want to discuss it, right? So there's
if you want
zero
to discuss
effort. Yeah. So
if you
there's
want to
zero
discuss it, you
effort.
want me to
Can
give
I finish? Can I finish?
yeah.
There's zero effort to write down, catalog, or preserve the hadith. This just was not a
Okay.
thing. Okay. By
Okay.
the time
So
I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm still talking, right? It's very simple. If there's sound coming out of my mouth, I'm still talking, right? That's a piece that you basically mute and you listen.
okay,
And
but
then
I
when I
got the
stop
idea.
talking,
I
yeah,
got
and then
the
when I
idea.
stop talking, then you can talk. Okay?
Okay.
So there is no mushaf that contains this concept of a hadith, okay? In the first century, it doesn't exist. So the earliest Muslims, they only were concerned with preserving and cataloging and memorizing the Quran. Okay, by the time of Bukhari, you have millions of narrations out there, millions of narrations. Okay, now let me ask you this: what is your view on monkey adultery?
That's not my topic.
Yeah, because that's in Bukhari. Bukhari claims that
I won't
Amir bin
answer that.
Maymun.
That's not my
So
topic.
Amir bin Maymun. Okay, he saw that during the days of ignorance, there was a monkey that committed adultery, and they stoned it. So that he participated in that stoning. This is hikmah.
I didn't read about that. And
Can I show it? Can
as
I
I
show it
told
to
you,
you and you read it?
as
I'll
I
read it.
told you,
Yeah.
I'm not the
I'll
most.
bring it.
I'm not the
I'll
most. I'm not
bring
the.
it. Okay. That's great. Yeah, so I'm gonna bring the hadith for you, okay? And then you tell
I
me.
don't
You
have
give
to
me
bring the hadith.
what is the
That's not my
hikmah?
topic. That's not my topic.
Yeah, that's fine. That's my topic. I'm the one who's basically setting the agenda here. Okay?
I don't want to participate in this topic.
Why?
I don't want to
Why don't
participate.
you want to talk about monkey adultery? It's in Bukhari.
He keeps changing. First, he came here saying there's a sun
I
now. He
didn't
can't prove there's
bring
a
up
sun now. He
al-Bukhari.
wants to go to true verses. You can't do this, man.
I
Yeah.
You ask
didn't.
a
Brother,
question, we ask a question. You ask a question, we ask a question.
I
Okay, so
didn't
we're
bring
gonna
up
bring up.
al-Bukhari. Your
Yeah,
friend
we're
did.
bringing up. Yeah, we're bringing up.
Your
Okay,
friend did.
that's great.
I did that.
Yeah, we're
Guys,
bringing
did
up.
I
No,
bring up
you did.
al-Bukhari?
Yeah, you did. Because
It's
early
topic.
on in the chat, you did. Yeah, early
I'm
on in
not
the
the one.
chat, you did.
Show
Yeah,
me.
you
Show
did.
me.
You
Yalla.
brought up hadith. You brought up hadith. You brought up hadith.
Show
You
me.
said,
Show me.
"Hey, look, we need hadith." Okay, so that's
Show me.
it.
Show me. Show me.
Right?
Show me.
Yeah.
Show me.
Okay, I'm gonna put in the chat. Just
Okay.
read it.
Show me.
Okay. Okay. Please read this. Okay. Can you read that for me?
Show me where I brought up al-Bukhari.
Yeah. Read it. Read it.
Show me where
I
I
put it
brought
in the
al.
chat. Yeah.
Show me where I brought.
I put it in the chat. Just read it. This is
Okay,
Bukhari.
I read it.
3,849. Can you read it for us? Can you read it for us? It's Sahih.
In English.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, English is fine.
Okay. During the pre-Islamic period of ignorance, I saw a she monkey surrounded by a number of monkeys. They were all stoning it because it had committed illegal sexual intercourse. I too stoned it along with them.
Okay, this is hikmah.
What?
Is this hikmah?
It doesn't have to be a hikmah.
Okay. So, but it's Sahih. So we're in agreement there. So how
Okay,
does a
wait.
monkey get married? Do they have mahrams?
Who's the one that did the stoning?
Yeah. So I'm asking you, right? The monkeys and Amir bin Maymun.
Okay, but as a student, you're asking me
Yeah,
about
so-
something I haven't studied yet.
What do you mean? It's right there. It says
You're
that.
asking me
Yeah,
about something.
no.
You're asking me.
There isn't anything to study. He says Amir bin Maymun. Okay. Said that he basically witnessed a monkey that committed adultery, and then they stoned it, and he participated in the stoning.
Okay,
And according to Bukhari, this
But
is Sahih. This is authentic. This is the second most authentic book after the Quran.
okay, what does that have to do with me? When did I bring Sahih al-Bukhari?
You believe in Bukhari. That was the whole conversation that started this.
Okay,
Right?
but
You're defending Bukhari. You're saying that look, we need this.
this is not a
hikmah. This is
hadith.
how we
This is
understand.
not a hadith. This is not sunnah.
No, it is.
The Prophet
It
did
is a
not do
hadith.
this.
Hey, it's a narration. It's a narration in
The
Sahih
Prophet,
Bukhari. It's not about the Prophet.
did not.
Right? The fact is, out of all the millions of narrations that Bukhari collected, he looked at this one. He said, you know what? Amir bin Maymun, he's he's faqih, right? He's someone who's trustworthy. He's a good narrator. We're going to include his narration because this is important for future generations.
The whole package. You can't just accept some of it and then reject some of it. This is all together. If you reject this, then you have to reject others too.
Yeah, because, okay, let me ask you this. What's the meaning of Amir bin Maymun? It's like an interesting name. What's that mean?
I don't know.
You don't know? You know that most of these hadith, actually all of them, all 6 of the compilers were Persian. Are you aware of this?
But I did not mention this.
Okay, yeah. So I'm just I'm educating you.
You brought up.
Did
You
you know?
brought up.
Did you know? Did you know? Did you know?
You brought
Okay.
up.
Did you know? Did you know that in Farsi, the word Maymun, it means monkey? Did you know this?
No.
So Bukhari narrated from
Amr ibn Maymun is not.
Amir,
not
yeah. Maymun in Farsi means monkey. So
But
the
he's
guy,
not Persian.
yeah. So listen. The narrator,
He's not Persian.
monkey. The narrator, Bukhari is Persian. Yes, Bukhari is Persian. He's from Bukhara.
Bukhari is Persian, but Maymun is not Persian. That's
No,
that's
the
the
word.
same thing as that's the same thing as saying me maniac in English is a normal word, but in Arabic it's curse word.
Oh, but its origin of it is in Farsi. Maymun is origin in Farsi.
In Farsi, if you say Maymun, that means monkey. So the narration of this hadith is the commander of a son of a monkey. Is that strange? That Bukhari saw this hadith. He saw the hadith about the commander of the son of a monkey, about a monkey committing adultery, and he participated and said, you know what? I need future generations to know about this hikmah. They must know about this. I'm going to include this in my Sahih compilation.
Okay, do you realize that you've been talking for the past 10 minutes?
Yeah. Did you learn something?
No, I did not learn something because
I don't take my knowledge from you.
I don't take my knowledge from you. When I study
Why are
this
you
hadith,
here? Why are you here? You're just here to preach, or are you having a discussion?
What?
Are you here to preach, or are you here to have a discussion?
No, I'm not here to beef. I'm having a discussion. But you're not trustworthy to give me knowledge about Sahih al-Bukhari.
Well, he brought you the hadith. It's right in front of you.
Okay, but when I study the hadith with my trustworthy imam and ulama, I will come back to you and give you the evidence for it.
Okay, this is a good point. Take it to them. Why is this the monkey? How can a monkey commit adultery? Ask them that.
I told you, I did not study this hadith. I don't know the meaning behind it. I don't know the
This is
hikmah
a
behind
very
it.
important hadith. Like, look, if there's anything your religion is dictated on, it's to understand the hikmah that Bukhari brought. Okay, this is the second most authentic book after the Quran, according to you.
Okay, do you want me to give you proof?
It's important that you study the monkey adultery hadith. Okay, your entire salvation rests on this.
Okay,
what did the commander of the son of the monkey have to say regarding this?
Let's go back to what your friend told me, that the problem with your generation is they don't ask, they just come thinking they know everything. I literally asked you about your religion. No one answered me. Then someone came up to me.
We answer every question, bro. What's your question about submission?
I literally, the first second I joined this server, I asked you 2 times, what is this religion? And I want to know about it. No one answered me.
Worship of God alone and upholding the Quran alone. Finish. What's your next question?
Someone mentioned in the chat that 2 verses have been removed to prove the 19th code theory.
No. Yeah.
So someone mentioned that.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. You got false information. Okay. And let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Let me
tell you something. I'm done with the debate. I have to go anyway. But I need to.
Can you tell me?
I didn't finish.
What's your big reveal?
I'm done with the debate. But what I said, some people that have the submitter role literally told me that 2 verses have been removed. So it's your job as moderator to
Yeah, I'm
not
trying
blame
to.
me.
No,
It's
no, no.
not.
If you're, yeah, because you have to ask
If
questions.
you're,
I'm trying to give you an answer. I'm trying to give you an answer, right? But if you're fixated on that, right? So I'm asking you, okay? Is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim part of the Quran or not?
yes, it's part of the Quran.
Really? Because the Maliki's say it's not part of the Quran.
Listen, Sunnis are not just one part. Like we have the
Yeah.
Wahhabi,
So,
we have
so there's a
Ash'ari.
dispute. Yeah. So do you? So let me ask you this: are Malikis no longer Sunnis because they say, look, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is not part of the
No,
Quran?
that's ikhtilaf. That's ikhtilaf.
Okay, yeah, so they have ikhtilaf, yeah, they have disputes, okay? And they say, hey guys, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is not part of the Quran.
For us, it's part of the Quran. It's
Okay, but
literally.
now you have, but how do you resolve that? That's a big difference, right? You can't tell me if
That's
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, are
that's
Malikis still Sunni?
that's yes. That's
Okay, but
ikhtilaf.
so a big portion of the Sunnis don't believe that Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is part of the Quran. Did they remove it then?
Okay, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, so they removed
What's wrong with
the
that?
first verse of the Quran. That's a
Some
problem.
Sunnis, some Sunnis believe that touching a woman with like a border, like clothes or something, it does not remove the wudu, but it is a sin. Some
Okay, but
believe
we're
that it
talking
removes
about
wudu.
what are the verses of the Quran? That's the discussion. Okay, but your
Whether
Sunni
what?
methodology,
Whether
yeah,
what?
what are the actual verses of the Quran? Your methodology is stuck on the first verse.
No, it's not stuck on the first
Yeah,
verse.
it is. Yeah, because the Malikis
No,
say
it's ikhtilaf. It's ikhtilaf.
no, that's
ikhtilaf.
exactly, yeah.
Let
The
me
first
tell
verse
you
of the
something.
Quran,
You
in
have
the first
ikhtilaf.
verse of the Quran. So listen. The first verse of the Quran, you guys have ikhtilaf. You guys have disputes. You don't know if it's
Okay.
part of the Quran or not. Some people say yes, some people say it's
Okay.
not.
Just to tell you, don't claim that we have ikhtilaf that is bad for us. When your server or your religion literally has ikhtilaf.
No, we
I
don't.
just asked.
Okay, when it
I
comes
just
to
asked.
submitters, we
No,
don't.
no. I just
So
asked.
you have
I
a
just
wrong,
asked.
you have a wrong understanding of what was stated. That's it. Right? I don't know
I
who
just
it was who stated that comment,
I
right?
just
So it's like
I
I can't
just I
basically
just
attest for
asked.
it.
I just
But I'm
asked.
just saying. So I'm saying, look, you guys don't know, okay, if Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is part of the Quran. That's a much bigger problem. Okay.
It's not that we don't know. We made
No,
our research. Some
yeah.
some ulama said that it is part of the Quran. Some said it is Sunnah. To say
Okay.
it like that.
Yes, but again, a big portion of the Sunni population doesn't believe Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is part of the Quran.
What's wrong with that?
It's
That's like
okay. So yeah, no.
like
This is a
just
big
like
deal. Is
just
it
like
fair?
50%.
Is it fair? Is
Just
it
like
fair? No. Is it fair to say the Fatiha in your salah?
yes, it is fard to say.
Okay. So all those people who don't say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, are they actually stating the whole Fatiha?
No, because it's ikhtilaf.
Okay.
When
So
you
look,
take
yeah.
okay,
So you're
we
saying
have
that their
so we
salah.
have
You're saying their salah is basically it's never accepted because they never met that minimum
no,
requirement.
I didn't say it's never accepted.
No, but that's your claim. You can't have it both ways. Either you have to takfir the Malikis, right? Or you say in essence, hey, we don't know, and you put your hands up in the air.
Yeah, you're saying that yeah, should what do you mean by takfir?
Takfir, that they're no longer part of the religion, right? Because they rejected the Malikis.
Who takfir the Malikis? Who takfir
No,
the
I'm saying you
Malikis?
should, because you're saying that in essence they are claiming that a verse of the Quran is not a verse of the Quran.
No, that's different.
Okay,
That's
so
How is it different?
what's the difference between that and us? So what's the difference between that and us?
Wait.
So what's the difference? What's the difference between that and us saying, hey, look, 9/1/20/129 wasn't part of the transmission?
Because you removed a verse that is clearly in the Quran.
No, it's not. No, that's the whole point, bro.
It's clearly in the Quran. It's
No,
clearly in the
brother.
Quran.
There's more. Yeah,
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is clearly in the Quran. 113 chapters, actually. Okay.
Wait.
So
So you're saying it's clearly not in the Quran.
Correct.
When was
it
removed
wasn't
in your religion? When was it removed in your religion?
it wasn't. It was.
In
When
which
was
year?
it added? Yeah, I'll tell you.
Which year?
When was it? The question is, it's not removed. It's when was it added?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Because in your own hadith, let me
it was
finish.
not added. For me, it
Yeah,
was
it
not
was.
added.
No. Look. In all your hadith, it says that basically when they were collecting the Quran, okay, they collected the entire Quran. They checked the hearts of men, what's written on paper and bones and sheets, and they collected the entire Quran. And the only entity in the entire universe who supposedly knew these two verses is Khuzaimah ibn Thabit al-Ansari.
But you're saying contradicts.
So you're
You're
telling
saying
me,
contradicts.
yeah,
You're saying contradicts the
let me
Quran.
finish,
You're
let
saying
me finish. Yeah, it does. We can get there. No problem. Okay. So according to your own sources, okay, Abu Bakr didn't know these verses. Umar didn't know these verses. Zayd ibn Thabit didn't know these verses. Ibn Masud didn't know these verses. Ka'b didn't know these verses. Ali didn't know these verses. No one knew these verses except for this one dude, Khuzaimah.
okay.
No
I'll get
one in
back
the
to.
entire Muslim Ummah knew these two verses
I'll
except for
get back
Khuzaimah.
to my scholars and I will reply to you for that thing.
You go refer to your scholar, brother.
Because it may
Maybe bring
not
him
be
here as
correct.
well.
What you claim may not be correct because not everything written on books is correct, just as you say.
Yeah, I mean, I can show your sources, right? That's the challenge. I'm using your sources.
I didn't mention Sahih al-Bukhari. You're mentioning something.
Yeah, it's an internal critique. I can show you numerous of your sources in your Sahih compilations that show that 9128, 129 was not part of the Quran. I can show you Ibn. So this is Ibn Abu Dawud.
Does that contradict the Quran?
Let me finish. We'll get there. Right? In Ibn Abu Dawud, okay, in Kitab al-Musaf, he explicitly states that this was added to what was revealed to the Prophet. These two verses. Did you know that?
What? Can you repeat what you said?
Yeah. So in the Kitab Ibn Ibn Abu Dawud, okay, Kitab al-Musaf, it explicitly states that these two verses were added to what was revealed to the Prophet. Did you know that?
No, because I will check it. I want. I will check it from my scholars. I want. Go back
So
to you.
look, your own history is telling you this isn't part of the Quran. This was an addendum added
But
to
does
the
that
Quran.
contradict the Quran? Does that?
Yeah, we'll get
contradict
there.
the Quran?
We're not there yet. Okay. This is a Medinan verse, surah, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Except these two verses, they're considered Meccan. How? How can a Medinan surah, right? Because it happened after the Hijrah, contain Meccan verses?
Because they didn't have tertib back then.
Didn't have what?
The tertib of the Quran came back.
No. It's not about tertib. Did the revelation?
It's about tertib. It's about tertib.
No. Listen.
We're talking about the last two verses in a Medinan surah. The last two verses in a Medinan surah, brother.
What is the first surah?
Are you telling me those two verses were revealed first? Are you telling me those two verses were revealed first?
No.
Well, how does it make sense then? You have a Medinan surah, and the last two verses in this Medinan surah, okay, is Meccan, min Mecca. So unless these two verses were revealed first in Mecca, and then the Prophet went to Medina and then revealed the surah from the beginning, it doesn't make sense. That logic makes no sense whatsoever. Not to mention the only person, the person who, according to the Hadith corpus, the person who attested these verses is Khuzaimah al-Ansari, who's from Medina. So if he's from Medina, how was he there to witness the revelation in Mecca?
The Prophet was from Mecca. Didn't he go to the Medina? People can travel.
Yeah. No. Okay, what makes a surah Meccan or Medinan is if it's before or after Hijrah. Okay? Surah 9 is after Hijrah. Yeah. So except these two verses, they claim these are Meccan surahs, meaning that it happened before Hijrah, that was attested only by one guy who's from Medina. How does that make sense? Make that make sense to me.
Can you repeat what you said?
Okay. Surah 9 is a Medinan surah. Okay, it was revealed after the Hijrah. Except these two verses, they claim these two verses were revealed in Mecca. But the person who claims these two verses is a Medinan. He's Ansari. How does that make sense?
It makes sense. It makes sense.
How?
Explain.
If he's in Medina,
it actually makes sense.
If he's in Medina,
what was the first ayat that was revealed to the Prophet?
Ikra. But what's that have to do with anything? That was where was that? In Mecca or Medina? Let me ask you this: was it in Mecca or Medina?
Do we start the Quran with those ayat?
It's not about start. It's not about start the Quran. Okay? You do not have. Yeah, you do not have. No. Listen. You do not have a Medinan surah with Meccan verses ending it. That just can't happen. It's an impossibility. let alone it being attested by someone who's
Okay,
a Medina.
I'll get back and prepare the response for this thing, and I'll give it to you tomorrow morning. Is that a problem?
No, it's not a problem.
Okay, خلاص. But one last thing. So you told me that you didn't remove 2 ayat from the Quran.
It's not part of the Quran. It's not part of the Quran. That's the whole point, right? There is nothing to remove. That's not part of the
from
Quran.
the start, you can tell me that before just
Yeah, it's
lying
not
and
part
tell
of
me that.
yeah, it's not. That's the whole point, right? If someone adds falsehood,
Okay,
to the
I'll
text,
give
it's
you the
not part
proof
of the Quran.
tomorrow, and I'll prepare my responses to the points you have stated tomorrow, and I'll come back to you.
Why don't you just bring your scholar here? We
What?
can like get to the source. Why don't you bring your scholar here? We can debate it.
He doesn't have Discord, but I'll let him join from my phone if he can.
Okay.
Okay, thank.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be pretty fun.
Yeah, we
Well,
can also ask, if we get Jonathan, we can ask him about Ikramah.
Well, I have to go consult my scholars. I'll be back in a few minutes. God willing.
He's gonna go. His scholars are gonna have to ask his scholars. It's just an infinite regression of getting scholars trying to find
Wait,
answers.
who would be the proto scholar then? Where would the chain reach?
They're like, oh man, we're stuck. Just tell them we got to go get more scholars.
Yo, imagine if it's a circular chain. Like, as the scholars go consult their scholars, and their scholars go consult like their scholars until eventually it goes back to the original scholar.
It's going back to Ibn Kathir, bro. What are you talking about?
Oh,
That's where all
yeah,
this
you're right.
information comes from. This sacred scholarship.
It's going to be a circular argument, right? He's going to go back to saying, hey, our scholars tell us that the scholars are correct. Oh, how convenient.
Yeah, removing the half of the chapter 35 is ikhtilaf. If the Malakis just take the Quran and they only believe in 10% of it, that's just ikhtilaf. But if you try to say that you're removing 2 verses, that's not ikhtilaf, that's kufr. You guys are disbelievers.
Yeah. Or Ibn Masud added or removed 3 surahs. Is that ikhtilaf?
According to them, yeah. Listen, it's only ikhtilaf if you're a Sunni. Okay, if you claim you're a Sunni. Otherwise, it's kufr.
Guys, we can start calling ourselves Sunni because all the Sunnah of Allah, they say they accept all of it as ikhtilaf.
Hey, Kidder, did you watch the debate?
Yeah, the thing is, I was gonna watch it like live, but I went to sleep and I woke up like 6 hours later.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, I'm like, bro, that's late for you. It was good. It was good. What do you think?
It was pretty good. No, I really liked it. I kind of wish like he allowed more submitters to ask questions, to join. He was making some really bad points. Actually, I feel like rather than making our own points that were predetermined, it would have been better to just address his points, like just go fully rebuttal his points, like improvise basically. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, the thing is, it doesn't get any resolution, right? When he's blatantly lying, saying abadu doesn't mean worship, right? It's like, what do you do? Because then he's just at a standstill. He's going to say, look, my Arabic is better than you, and this word doesn't mean worship, right? Because he's just flat out lying, right? When he says darab means to rub with sticks, like darab is never used as rub throughout the entire Quran.
That's
you
true.
know? So, and then he just says, oh, well, you guys don't know Arabic. He's pulling the Sunni card.
Yeah, actually, out of all his points, out of all his linguistic arguments, there's only one that stood out. It's salah and the root of salah. Okay, now, this is pretty controversial, but like the word salah does not have the wasala root. That and this was the argument that he was making. But my understanding is the true meaning of salah could have been lost. But we can use the context of the Quran to get the definition of the prayer. You see, if we're gonna use the root. We're going to use the root that he used for salah that most people use, and you would use right now. Yeah, if you were to search up salah in a lexicon, that would not apply to a lot of the verses in the Quran. It wouldn't make sense at all. Does that make sense?
100%. But even stronger than that, Joe, it's like, look, This is a misconception in the sense where it's like, oh, it's a unified understanding that Salat comes from Qadlam. Wow. The reality is, even if you look, I just wrote an article about this, the word Quran, they dispute the root of the Quran. There's 4 opinions of it, of which root it applies to it. And this is the inherent, every time in Arabic, when you're dealing with a triliteral root that contains one of the long vowels, alif, la, or ya, you're going to have some ambiguity as far as which root to apply. You can look in Lane's lexicon and classical Arabic dictionaries. They will have Waw Sad Lam written exactly as salawat.
That's true.
Right? Because you can't tell. So say, for instance, if I give you the word to burn, they burn, okay? If I give that to you in isolation, you won't be able to determine what the root is.
Right. There would be multiple roots that I could pick that would apply.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So the whole concept is this argument that, oh, because it doesn't have a vowel there, it's like, it doesn't matter. When you're dealing with a long vowel, the vowel doesn't have to be present in order for that to make the determination of the root.
That's a good point.
There's like a universe, again, anyone who like looks at this stuff, yeah, recognizes it, but it's this ignorance where they think that it's like, oh, these things are just common knowledge. Like, no, bro, if you actually look into this material, you realize that there's this multi-meaning level when it comes to the roots anytime you have the long vowels.
Great. Sorry, go ahead.
There's another thing here. There's a concept. It's not like ironclad, but you do see a lot of it. If there's a word, right? So let's say I get all the roots that just have Sad and Lam, okay?
Okay.
And basically irrespective of any of the vowels. More often than not, you'll find that there's something they call a proto-root that's kind of tying all those things together, right?
Right.
So it's like, this is, again, something that's like, it's kind of known, it's not an established thing that it has to be that way. But more often than not, it's like, okay, there seems to be some underlying connection when you're dealing with the consonants, right? That the words that have Sad, Lam together, there's some association with them irrespective of the root.
Right. That's true.
Yeah, these are the kind of stuff that, say, for instance, like the arguments that he's making, you got to get into the weeds in order to disprove them. But, you know, in a Quranist argument, he just like laughs and, oh, you guys don't know Arabic, and, you know, as if it's just right. It's like, bro, you know, I can bring like 10 other, you know, Arab speakers, and they were going to have other opinions than what you are. Like, you're not the de facto expert on this.
Exactly. One more thing that he mentioned that really annoyed me was he brought up the translation shtick, and I expected this, but like I wish Navid would have made the argument that a translation, the more accurate the translation is to the word for word, the less reliable, realistically, in terms of practicality, it would be. Because remember that point we discussed earlier to the debate, like that translations, like it's like using the OG Google Translate. It's not an argument. He literally I feel like he's just trying to get like he's using certain buzzwords. He's just trying to make a point without evidence.
I know 5 languages. There's not a single translation that goes word for word. Like in all these languages, you have to use your knowledge of the language and the people who are speaking that.
That was his whole argument.
Time, you know.
Yeah.
To bring up the meaning, because it's impossible to translate word for word and give you, you know, an exact understanding of what the people at that time were talking about. So that argument falls flat from all, points of view. Linguistically, it's absurd, to say the least. You translate in word for word. And you can see that in their own translations, right? Look at Baba Shoaib's translation. You wouldn't understand a thing there. Just not a single command you can understand from that translation. It's all gibberish.
Agreed.
You can verify this. He has a website with his translation. It's so bad. It's terrible.
But that was essentially his point. He was making an argument out of thin air, and while it may look like impressive on the outside, there's no logical basis to that. Like you said it yourself, a translation cannot be a word for word. It's still an interpretation. And trying to capture meanings, complex meanings like idioms. So if it's close to the word for a word, then I would be worried, because that means you haven't captured the certain meanings. that you have to infer from the text. Also, why did he get to like put images and slides? And I didn't even know that was an option. Like, why didn't he even tell us that was an option?
I wanna ask a question, if I can.
Yeah. Just really quick. Hey, so that was an option. It's just Navi didn't want to use any slides. He didn't want to
Oh,
deal with
okay.
the technicality of trying to get slides up. That's not his any kind of
Okay,
technical.
fair.
Is not a strong suit.
I just feel like there's a lot of visual learners out there. But it might have been more aesthetic, I guess, to present this information in visual format. Looking at the debate now, like at least it's only his material on screen. It kind of felt one-sided, even though Navid's obviously spitting facts, but like I feel like if that information was in our face, was in the video, the point would have struck across much more efficiently to the people there. But hey, praise God, it was a good debate nonetheless. What were you asking, Ashraf? Apologies for interrupting you. Hey, Ashraf, are you there?
Yeah?
Yeah, you were asking a question. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
I'm already used to it. If Brother Peter can enlighten me on there are so many different Quran and translations. Like, how can it be?
You're saying how can there be so many translations?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd say a big portion of it is a lot of people who are translating the Quran from the traditionals. They're translating it through the lens of the hadith that they accept as Sahih, right? So most of it is viewed in their lens as tradition. That puts like the Sunni, same thing for the Shias, right? They're going to read things in the text that's not there in order to promote their tradition. Among the
He's
Quran,
asking about the recitations.
are you asking the recitation or the translation?
Recitations?
Oh, got you.
Like
Okay.
the different versions. Okay.
Yeah. So if you
Yeah,
look,
I saw the different versions on I'm gonna send you the pic.
do you know Plato's theory of forms?
No, I don't, brother.
Okay. So Plato's theory of forms is that you have perfection, and then each copy is going to add distortion. It's going to add alteration to the perfect copy. So if you say, hey, this is the perfect conception of a chair, every other manifestation of it is going to have some level of imperfection, right? And what happens when you get a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy? You increase the amount of impurity to that copy, okay? So when you look at the preservation of the Quran, I'm talking about the physical aspect. They have the mushafs, they have the recitation. That what they get are minor distortions. Okay. Now it's not a coincidence, I think, that the term they use for this is aruf. One of the meanings of aruf, if you look in the Quran, it means distortion. Okay. So what happens is they're transmitting the Quran, there's going to be minor, right? We're talking about plus minus 1% variation in that recitation. Most of this variation isn't going to impact the meaning. But every so often, it's like you think about like you have a gene, okay, like DNA, and you replicate. Each time you replicate, the possibility of creating a mutant gene increases, a mutation. Now, most of these changes aren't going to impact the overall genome, right? They're not going to impact the protein coding section. But every so often, one does, you know? So this is the thing.
Yeah.
We got the Quran through 1,400 years. Over time, it's picked up some impurities, okay? So you can think of it in the sense of you have a gold nugget and it has some lead in it, okay? Plus minus 1%. It's 99% pure. The question is, how do you purify that last percent? You know, the Sunnis don't have a methodology for that. The Quranists don't have a methodology for that. You know, Code 19, showing that the Quran has a numerical structure, is another mechanism that we can use to purify this text. Does that make sense?
So your explanation applies to the picture Navid shared
Let me see.
earlier on. If you look in the chat, brother.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Is it VC1?
Yes,
I don't see it. See, the last one is Navid. What
I've
about it?
tagged it.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, exactly. So there's 28 different authorized recitations according to Sunnis. Different verses, different spelling, different prepositions, you know, different dotting. So they are only able to preserve it to a certain extent. Now, if we map out all the differences between these 28 different recitations, okay, what we'll find is that, yeah, they have a Quran that's 99% pure. Okay. The question is, how do you get it past that 99% mark? How do you get it to 100%?
Through Code 19.
Exactly. Right? So this is the whole process. Why Surah Mudathir says, purify your garment. Right? These suhufs, these pages that God has given us, these are man-made, you know, writings, recitations of God's word. Inevitably, over 1,400 years, they're going to contain some distortion. Right? What we're doing is we're cleaning up, we're removing the noise, and we're cleaning up the signal.
But how can it be when God promised He's gonna preserve and protect it?
Yeah, he did. But let me ask you this: what is the mechanism? Right? If I give you, God gave us gold. Okay. Over time, this gold, say a pure gold
Oh,
from
God.
Muhammad.
Yeah.
Okay. Over time, it's caused what we call impurities have been infused inside this gold. Okay. So what we have today, we got up until Code 19, is a piece of gold that used to be 100% pure. Now it's 99% pure. People have added some distortion to it. They've added some lead, you know, some steel. And we say, okay, how do we remove those impurities from it? Right? So the gold's always been there. The gold didn't disappear, right? Just because someone added or, you know, altered the purity of the gold doesn't mean the gold went away.
I get the metaphor. And brother, what are verses that through Code 19 are revealed? And what did you learn from them?
Say that again. Say that again.
What verses did you learn through Code 19? And what did you benefit from it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give some of the ones that just come to mind. We have 29 chapters that have Quranic initials, 30 verses of Quranic initials, right? Alif, Lam, Mim, Taha, Kafa, Ya, Ain, Sad. You know, all these initials, 29 verses, or sorry, 30 verses, we didn't know what they meant. Okay? So this is what Code 19 gave us assurances that these letters, they're not just gibberish. You know, they gave us the correct meaning of what the function of these letters are. It's certainty regarding the text. But then in addition, if you read Surah 74, what is the meaning al-mudathir, the hidden secret? What does it mean to purify your garment? What does it mean that their number, 19, is going to serve these 5 functions? You know, this is also the concept where it gives us certainty regarding the text. Because if I hear that, hey, there's 20 different authorized recitations, and they don't know which one was the actual one given to the Prophet, I'm going to have doubt regarding the rulings of the Quran. I'm going to say, how do I know this is the correct understanding? Maybe I'm supposed to, you know, not feed poor people. I'm supposed to do something else, you know, and it removes that uncertainty, that doubt. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time hearing you. So I'm hearing half the things you were saying.
No, my bad. Yeah, I'm at the gym.
Yeah.
Maybe someone else can chime in. Is anyone
EJ,
else still on?
my man.
Hey, what's up?
That's great. I just got home. What's the question?
No,
Sajjad,
EJ, please.
Sajjad.
EJ.
Yes,
No, no,
yes.
Sajjad. EJ.
Sajjad, you excluded, brother.
Oh my god.
No, I like you also very much, but I'm in EJ mood, and when Sajjad is talking in the middle of the
EJ
night,
channel. It's okay. EJ channel. Go ahead, EJ.
Let's go.
yeah.
Let's go. Yeah, what's up, brother?
Yeah, so what verses are added on to Code 19, and what did you benefit from it?
What do you mean added on?
What verses were revealed through Code 19?
Bro, Code 19 does not reveal verses. Code 19 confirms what verses are from God. Very simple.
Yeah,
Oh, I
excuse me.
think you might mean like what ones were clarified. I heard a little bit about it earlier, so that might be what you're asking. Like which ones Rashad helped make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, God does not, you know, say in 22:15 that, you know, like, kill yourself, you shall kill yourselves. So that's a translation on a majority of the translations out there, right? So that would create a contradiction. So that understanding from their perspective, word for word, right, is wrong. So Rashad corrects that. There's multiple verses. The one with the, you know, like Solomon throw a dead body on his throne. You're familiar with that one?
With what?
There is a verse that literally the other translations say that Solomon threw a dead body on his throne. It's a metaphor, right? And they understand that and mistranslate it, and it makes no sense, right?
Mhm.
Let me try to pull it up. Yeah, so I think it's 38, 34. I think that's the one. Yeah, either 38, 34, or 36. I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah, 34. You're correct. Good night. So if you read the other translations, you would see that this verse, you know, doesn't represent what the metaphor or the phrase that you know is intended to be used there, right? Because it makes zero sense from their perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we can you know like cross reference a lot of their translations and see like how that works in terms of misquoting or mistranslating or misunderstanding what the verse is saying, basically. But another one would be, was that 36? No, 30. You're thinking 38, 40, 44. 38,
Grab
44? Yeah, grab a bunch of sticks and beat with it. Yeah. That one. We just had a debate with the Muhammad from
From where?
and that you have to take a bunch of sticks and rub with it. And that makes zero sense. And he claiming to know Arabic better than anyone else and has his own hikmah about this verse, which proved that he has nothing because he clearly misunderstands and represents the verse, right?
We can give
So
a breakdown both of 38, 34, and 44, how even the Arabic proves Rashad's a translation.
right. But what's more important is that all these terms belong to people of that time, you know, and very few people have the correct understanding on these verses.
You know,
Huh?
like, and they try
Non,
to
serioso.
conclude derive a meaning out of them, but they don't seem to get you know, like the gist of the verse, what is implying, right? So this notion of translating word for word, or you know, like having some Arabic superiority, didn't allow them to translate. Like God literally blocked them from understanding these verses, right? In my opinion, this is my personal opinion. Okay. So that being said, it's like in the case of Joseph, right? When he had the correct understanding of the dreams, right? And then when that information was revealed to him, he you know delivered it to the king, and then therefore he became, you know, like what he was meant to be after that. So he gave him a clear description of what his dreams meant, right? And the rest is history. So in this case, Rashad comes with information from God that we weren't able to decode for many years, including code 19, right? And he's claiming that he's a messenger of God. It's simple as that. He's preaching God alone. He's asking for no wage. He's come with proof of his messengership. So this is very easy, you know. He's not saying worship me, worship like three gods, you know. It's pretty straightforward. Like it can't be clearer than that, you know. When somebody like that comes along, most people believe that, you know, like brother Dude saying here, brother Peter, that, you know, if they were to live during the Muhammad's time or Jesus' time or Moses' time, they would be the first, you know, to support them. But that's not the case, because here we have somebody who's preaching God alone, right? And you know, he's asking for no wage, and he's fulfilling all the criteria based on the book, right? But yet we see people that claim to were to support the Muhammad and Jesus and all these other prophets, right, and messengers of God. Then the reality is they don't. So this shows like you know, human condition basically. What God tells us in the Quran, that, you know, the majority of people will not believe, and those who believe will not do so without committing idol worship, right? So what's the idol worship in this case? Just like the people of Joseph, right? They didn't believe him until he died. Then they said, you know, he was a messenger of God, right? After his death. And we see that the evidence for Prophet Muhammad, if they were to be in his time, wouldn't be sufficient for them, because just like as it wasn't sufficient for many in his time, and they fought him, you know, until his death. This shows that human condition doesn't change. We just believe now, like even if you ask them now, how come you believe in the Prophet Muhammad? Oh, what are you talking about, bro? Like this is, you know, he's a messenger of God. He brought the Quran. But what makes you believe in his prophecy and in his messengership, right? What convinced you? They have no answer, no clear answers for that, right? Because Muhammad didn't have a miracle except the Quran, right? So in this case, like why people saying that, okay, Rashad, you know, he didn't bring anything. The Quran was already there. Yeah, Muhammad didn't bring anything new, right? The Quran is part of his messengership, right? He brought no miracle except the Quran itself. But we didn't know about the miracle of the Quran until after his death, right? Now we can, you know, because God actually says it himself, you know, they asked Muhammad, how come he has no miracle like the prophets and messengers before him, right? And God tells him to say that wait, and I will wait along with you. Therefore, the miracle of the Quran was destined for generations after the prophet. So how do the Muslims know that the Quran is a miracle? What's their evidence? When God himself claims that, you know, the Quran
is a miracle for to be revealed for later on, right? So what's the miracle in the Quran according to their sources? They don't know, right? Oh, it's this book from God. What's the miracle in the book, right?
Mhm.
So now we have tangible proof that God has given to his messenger to show that this book is from God, right? And this shows their hypocrisy, basically, just like the Jews were saying for Joseph. Oh, he's not a prophet until his death. Oh, he was a prophet. Then, you know, no messengers will come after him. Then many messengers and prophets came after Joseph, right? So do you see the so how the previous generations, you know, went wrong with this kind of understanding? That first they disbelieve. Then after the death, they say like he was a messenger, but he was the last, right? Without any evidence for that. Then many messengers come after him, and then the rest is history. Same pattern repeats.
Hey, let's
Prophet
hear from
Muhammad,
from Ashraf if he's if we're on the hitting the right points.
right? Yeah, he can speak whenever he wants. Actually, like I want him to talk, not just wave. Yeah, yeah. Ashraf, you want to engage,
Yeah,
brother?
yeah. If you ask me precise questions,
Yeah. So where you at with your understanding? Like what is holding you back from uh kind of like believing these kind of things that were just proposed here? Like what's holding you back? What's the
proposed.
evidence that you're lacking in order for you to believe that let's say Rashad was a messenger?
Huh? Brother, when did
Mhm.
I
No, I'm not
insinuate
accusing you. No,
or
I'm not.
imply?
Like, okay, let me rephrase my question.
Okay,
What could give you more certainty that this is the truth? How about that?
about that, he's a messenger. I'm certain than most people are as a
I,
submitter.
praise God. Okay.
Yeah, my question was more to um, the post Navid earlier shared on with different versions of the Quran,
Yeah.
and Code
Okay.
19 can unlock the precise verses coming from Allah. So my question was how and which verses were those?
Yeah. Chapter 9, verse 128, 29.
Yeah, but that's not so much
Mhm.
a recitation issue, right? So if you look at the different recitations, the challenge is they'll break code 19 in one of the Quranic initials, if not some of the other words within the Quran, right? So not only is the Quranic initials, they safeguard the occurrences of those letters within their respective sets, but the Quran also contains certain symmetry, right? Certain patterns within the frequency of words that if you use these other texts, you're basically going to lose that functionality. So I'll give you some examples, like the number of verses within the Quran. Out of all the recitations, the only one that the number of verses is a multiple of 19 is awesome. Okay.
Mhm.
If you
Yeah.
look at the occurrences in predominantly Kaf Ha Ya Ain Sad and then Yasin, you'll see that when it comes to these chapters, there's certain words that they change from like a ya to a ta or a ta to a ya that alter the occurrence of these letters within their chapter, so they're no longer multiple of 19. So for instance, if you go to Surah 36, I think it's 87 in always mix up in Hafs. And then if you go to the other recitations, it's verse 86 or vice versa. Because again, the verse counts aren't the same. They'll have yakaluna and takaluna.
you all understand, they understand. And this change, and from a ya to a ta, it basically no longer becomes a multiple of 19 in those recitations. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Like another, yeah. Like another pattern is the occurrence of qal and qalu, right? So he said and they said, right? In the halves, these occur 342 times each. But if you look in Shuba, who's like which also claims to be from Asam, these don't occur in 342 of each. The symmetry is lost because there's like 4 instances where he changes qala, he said, to qala, say. Right? So it's these kinds of things that for us tell us how we can eliminate the ones that are close, basically further away from the actual transmission, and find the one that's the closest. But then even in that instance, so say for instance, Hafs and Asam, in 1924, when they standardized that text, they decided to change the spelling of Basatan in Surah 7, verse 69. So Basatan, Surah 7, it's Alif Lam Mim Sad. Okay, the Sad count occurs in 3 chapters. But what they did is they changed it from a sin, Basatan with a sin, to Basatan with a Sad, even though the recitation is still with a sin. But this changes the Sad count. So now Alif Lam Mim Sad is no longer multiple, and the 3 Sad initials are no longer multiples. Right? So this corrected that spelling. And what's interesting is even if you go to the old Mushafs, they spell it with a sin. The triliteral root is with a sin. The recitation is with a sin. For whatever reason, they decided when they did their printing to change it to a Sad.
Really.
Yeah. So that's kind of how Code 19 serves to purify, the text. And we're not debating, hey, which one of these 28, recitations is the correct one, or throwing our hands up in the air. So like guys like Muhammad, he says, look, basically what you do is you take all the different variations, and it doesn't even matter what the dotting is. Whatever interpretation you come up with that you think is best, that's the one you go with. So you can change the text however you want. You want it to say you said, they said, he said, it's fine as long as it doesn't change the skeleton of the text, the rasam.
Infinite permutations, like even on his debate, he had Quranists like him, coming and objecting to his understanding. So that leads into infinite permutation, which like you have no religion at that point. You know what I mean? Because like who's gonna have the correct understanding, right? Who's to say, like, who's the authority to decide that he has the correct understanding versus somebody else, right? So in this case, that's why a messenger is a blessing and is very much needed because of these things. You see?
Let's see. Brother EJ, were you a Quranist before?
No, I was never a Quranist. I was a Sunni. And then I submitted afterwards. But God's leave.
And what was your journey? You didn't believe in Hadith?
No, brother. So long story short, I will tell you, I was a Sunni. I wouldn't say born in the religion, but because where I was born, religion was outlawed. I'm Albanian, by the way, and we were a regime that didn't allow, religion. So when I was born, and therefore, but from my grandfather, he was a Hafiz, much older, and he knew the Quran by memory. So I was taught in secret about the Quran. I was interested, right? But his understanding at the time was that, hey, this is a book from God, like you recite it this way, and this is how you understand it, like the very, very basic formal understanding, because that's what he knew at the time, And we didn't talk about hadith, fortunately for me, because he wasn't very knowledgeable about hadith somehow, right?
Alhamdulillah.
So after a period of time into that, like secret, like reciting basically parroting the Arabic without fully understanding what I was saying, by age 14, I came across like the regime fell after that, like stuff like that, and we were allowed to you know believe again basically, and by age 14, I happened to receive a copy of the translation of the Quran. They translated in my native language, and I realized that some of the practices that they were doing in the mosques and the these places of worship were contradictory to the translation of the Quran, right? And I realized by God's leave from the early age that all these practices were contradictory to what the Quran is saying in my language, like, and then I wanted to drop it. I said, like, this is not the religion of the Quran. This is some other religion they're practicing. So I was confused for a while. Like, I think until I was 19 or something like that, or 18 or something like that. Not quite remember. But then I heard at the age that there is a code in the Quran, right? In the, I would say it was mid 90s or late 90s. And Rashad didn't come across, but like there is a lot of publications mid 90s. It would be 94 or 95, 1995, right? Something like that. That were saying that the Quran has a mathematical structure and is based on number 19. I was interested. I was like, oh wow, this is interesting. And I bought like 4 or 5 books, if I remember well, and I read them all. And they were saying that okay, like all these things about the Quran, mathematical structure, right? Basically, the fundamentals Rashad has concluded from his findings, right? And then for a period of time, I was trying to find God. Like literally, I was searching for truth, basically, and looking through many different religions. Not many, but a few different religions. And I just at one point I said, God, please help me, because this is hard. This is really hard. I don't know what to do. And ended up here in the United States, and I wanted to find a mosque to do my Juma, and like people who um, believed in God alone and worship God alone, and ended up leading me to the Masjid Tucson or submission.org at that time. And I read that information, and I realized like, oh wow, this is what the code mathematical structure of the book. I was reading those books many years ago, is it's verifying all these information that I already read, and yeah, I concluded that this is from God. There is no other way. So I submitted right there and then, and I became a submitter because so that's long story short, I guess.
Praise God. Why didn't you go to Europe?
Why didn't I go to Europe, or why did I
Yeah.
go?
No, why didn't
Oh
you
well,
go to Europe?
I was in Europe.
Yeah, further in Europe, Western Europe.
Oh, Western. I was in the West, but at the time I didn't have the opportunity to move because I was very young, and the financial and also like we had a we had a visa, so like a visa system which prohibited us from moving across Western Europe at the time. So until that happened, that I think it's 2004 or 5, something like that.
But
I would
America was open?
Yeah, I migrated here. I migrated here with the lottery, like a green card lottery. My parents migrated here, therefore, they won the lottery or whatnot. And ever since, but I went back to Europe. So the stories going back was a different story, which is um, another part of my submission journey, I guess. When I realized, I'll tell you shortly, when I realized here, like what submission represents and what submission is, I wanted to share this information with all my Sunni brothers, quote unquote, back at home, because I knew a lot of people from back home, right? And I went back happy to share this information, and I stayed there for 3 years. Nobody believed it, right? Nobody, like nobody. They said like, you went to America, you went crazy. This information is false. Like all kinds of claim, even threatening my life. Like, okay, like this guy is crazy. We're gonna have to take him out or whatnot. And these were people who are trusted and thought that they were my friends. But anyway, long story short, after 3 years, some people heard about my debates with the Sunnis and these guys, and came to me and asked me, "Hey, what do you think of this? Like we heard about your arguments and we want to hear more about this and that." And they said like, "Oh yeah, totally. This makes complete sense." Therefore, they believed, right? And we created a community, which is, by God's leave, is still there now and is growing. So yeah, that was a great blessing. Like it was a real uphill struggle for me because I was alone for 3 years, and I said to myself, "Oh wow, like how come all after all these facts that are presented by Rashad, and like all these are um, these are tangible proof that the Quran is from God, and he's revealed this information to Rashad, and why do you reject this?" I was very I said, "Please God, uh, give me something, give me a sign to to continue this journey, because like how come this is so clear, how come they don't see it?" And then by God's leave, the people appeared, and the rest is history. Now we have there is like probably 30 people over there, I guess, and it's growing. So that's shortly or longly my story.
You didn't mention you were going back to Europe.
Yeah, I said I went back because I was so happy that like I found this information and it's relevant, and this
Oh,
proves that Quran is from God, and solidifies the belief that we should worship God alone and remove all these other idols, like idol worship, like in the mosque, like praising the prophet, like commemorating the prophet. Even like we have something that I don't know, like it's not practiced perhaps in all the Muslims, so-called Muslim countries, which is called Mavlud or Mavlud. And it's like, this is like complete shirk. Basically, they're sitting there for hours and sending praises and prayers to the prophet, like taking out his uh, personal object, like, like maybe some antiquated object that he supposedly used, and like complete idol worship, brother. It's so bad. And they were kissing them, and they were like, I don't know, like what to. It's like it's so bad. Yeah. So that when I think about that, that was probably the biggest trigger that veered me off the Sunni path. Because when I saw that, and like when I had my Quran copy in my language, it broke me, bro. I mean, this is clear idol worship. Like they're literally they're praising the prophet for hours on end and singing to the prophet, and trying to
yeah,
elevate
yeah. The
him.
don't
It's
mention
so
it's
bad. Yeah.
Like, and then there's the same people who curse the Christians from elevating Jesus to the status of, God. So these are the same people. These are hypocrites, right? So
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
Well, quite a roller coaster, don't you think?
Say again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Quite a journey.
Yeah, I mean, there's more to it than that, but yeah, this is like 25 years now, so it's a long, long journey.
How old are you?
I'm about to be 47. Yeah.
47.
Yes, sir.
So you're almost 50?
Yes. Why is that so unbelievable?
Because you don't look a day over 24 at most.
What? Well, that's a compliment, but yeah, like, don't look at the outside, look at the mileage, right? It's taken a beating, bro. The outside might look shiny, but the mileage is still in there.
Good. You got the chance to make it this far. I see the truth.
Am I hearing you like you kind of like broken, like one word and then it stops and then, or is it just me or anybody else?
Can anyone hear me good?
Yeah, I heard you
I
like one. Yeah.
I hear you okay now. You're kind of low sometimes.
Yeah. Same.
Well, that's my cue then to go to sleep.
Yeah. Good clue.
Okay,
The
well,
the
do you got
energy.
any do you got any questions for me before I'm leaving?
Questions for you? I don't.
Yeah.
Um. So my question to you would be basically,
If you don't care, you can just say so.
like, what does one need, right, to
Mhm.
achieve certainty to a point where he makes what I call the leap of faith? Because we all need to make that leap of faith at the end of the day, right? Even Abraham asks God for certainty when he asks him, like, show me a proof. And then God tells him to cut off those birds and put them in the heels, right? You're familiar with that verse, right?
I'm not familiar with the verse, but I'm familiar with the scenario.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
can't tell because it's really personal. What's
No,
proof
like,
for
hear
me
me
is,
out.
yeah.
Yeah. So for each individual, we have to see enough evidence for this to be the truth, right? So when we look at the evidence and we need reassurance. God says that even Abraham, which he calls his friend, right, needed reassurance, despite knowing that Abraham was never an idol worshiper, right? He knew like God, like intimately in terms of that he's the source of everything and he's the only God and all these things, right? But yet it shows a human nature needing reassurance, right? So my question to you is like, what reassurance would you need to strengthen your resolve in this manner, like in this case? What would you need? What evidence would that be for you?
Really, not a Rasul or becoming one. I already have my reassurance, so rest assured and take my word for it.
Can you
Does
say
that
that again,
suffice?
brother? Because
Oh,
you kind of, yeah.
excuse me. I said I am already I already have my reassurance, so rest assured.
Oh, praise God. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. God bless you. I mean, this is stated multiple times in the Quran when God says, will assure the believers, we give them certainty in themselves and in, like I'm paraphrasing, and in the world around them, basically, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
this is the true religion of God, right? So God gives you enough evidence to make that choice, but then eventually we all have to make the leap of faith when we say, like this is from God and we accept it, and we have no, you know, uh, we have no arguments against this. This is all from God. Just like,
You can't.
like with, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I think it's also more like to be enlightened in your heart and state of mind to be more assured than others.
Yeah, certainty comes, to you like in stages, right? God says we move you from stage to stage, right? So first you realize that, there is only one God, and you know, through commemoration and through seeking truth, you come to the conclusion that the Quran is the word of God, right? And then you have to abide by the words that God says, you have no objections, basically. It comes to a stage where you have no objection. God is doing everything. That's a hard pill to swallow, right? Something happens to you, right? And you have to accept it. You have to be fully submitted to God. Everything comes from God. And this is, like for most people, they say it with their mouth, but it's so much harder to do in practice, right? And your
Yeah,
actions have to match with your
yeah,
words. And
yeah.
then,
I still don't grasp that so much. I can explain another time. Sorry for
yeah,
interrupting.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
uh,
yeah, no problem,
I'm
no
learning
problem. We're
from
having
Khader,
a
I guess.
conversation.
Nice.
Yeah. So the this concept is a very broad concept, and hopefully another time, since you're going to bed soon, I want to keep you entertain this topic too long, but yeah, we have to accept that everything comes from God and God is doing everything. Rashad actually has a whole sermon about this, and it's on YouTube. If you look at God is doing everything on YouTube by Rashad Khalifa, you'll find it, and you'll probably take his word for it, like from the source, right? And then the verses of the Quran where he bases his